of some of those people.
Allegedly.
Well, literally, I'm just saying of some people that I've seen on Ritalin.
You've seen the type.
Yes, I've seen the type. I've seen the reaction. No, none of those are my flavors, mind you, but it is an observation. And when you see Donald Trump react in this way, just so casually suggesting that somehow, some way, the only reason Joe Biden's doing having any good conversations, being able to articulate his policies and his thoughts and his feelings and his plan and the direction for this country in such an efficient manner. Well, how could that possibly be? Well, how do I do it? With drugs.
Performance enhancing drugs.
You're a lying dog faced pony soldier.
I mean, what sort of drugs cognitively make you better? I've seen a few drugs that make me worse. You know, some take the edge up, some make me edgy, but I've never seen a drug that makes me quote unquote better. I mean, that's what Huey Lewis was longing for in the song all those many years ago. Wants a new drug. What is the magical performance enhancing drug that Donald Trump is referencing? Do you think, is it Ritalin? Do they tell him, sir, crumble this up, snort a couple lines, and you're likely to do better?
You might,
anonymous, really
anomalous. And I've seen him at also times close his eyes during some of these press conferences for seemingly a fairly long time, longer than a blink or to get the dryness out of your eyes. So with the modern,
I'm not looking at you now.
With the modern chemistry that we have, I have absolutely no idea even what's on the market. I'm old school, man. Give me some flour, I'll be okay.
You think Trump gets the cutting edge, the best of the drugs?
Well, what if you were a billionaire? Wouldn't you?
Sure.
Okay, then.
But I don't know.
What about Don Jr.? Remember Don Jr.? He
yeah.
looked like he was chasing a little bit during those.
He did, but I thought his actual delivery. I mean, if he's a cokehead and he was on coke the night of the RNC speech, and some have alleged that he might have been, he actually has a good cocaine delivery. No. I mean, relative. He didn't clench his teeth terribly.
I mean, practice makes perfect, I guess.
Well, that is quite possible. There are some that have gone on the broadcast airwaves really, really high. His name is Rush Limbaugh. Right, he used to pop a handful of oxys he got from Consuela by the box full.
By the cigar box full. That's a lot of pills, man.
It was a lot of pills.
And like 5-10 a day was my understanding, like heavy usage.
Yes.
The problem with those, you can't remember what you've taken already. At least most of the time, you've forgotten.
So, I mean, what did Rush used to say? Doing this show with one side of my brain tied behind my back, something of that. And I think that was a literal assessment of his cognitive abilities because he was on the drugs.
To that end, that's actually why I use cannabis a lot, is because without it, I have all of the thoughts at the same time.
You use cannabis?
Sometimes I do. From time to time, I do use cannabis. And it allows me to have one thought at a time, maybe three, rather than all of them. If you've ever seen me on cocaine, I've solved all the world's problems and then stopped them immediately.
Cocaine's a terrible drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
It's a terrible drug. We've talked about this, Dominic. Cocaine's an evil, evil drug.
Yes. You can tell good drugs and bad drugs, and there's a
very simple delineating line.
A very simple formula. When you're running low, will you still share it with your friends? Good drug, bad drug.
So, weed, cannabis, a socialist drug.
Sure. Yeah. Back in the old days before COVID, light a joint, pass it around. Now, there's better delivery mechanisms than a joint, but there's something to be said about the camaraderie and the friendship, and it's a bonding experience.
Could you envision the day Joe Biden and Donald Trump pre-debate saying, in solidarity, let's light this one.
I look forward to the day that actually does happen. That will not happen with these candidates.
Maybe post debate.
Wind it down a little bit.
But startling, not that Trump would besmirch his opponent. He's been doing that constantly. But the fact that drugs, and of course, his evangelical base, they're supposedly not the drug sort. But of course, if there's anything you know about the evangelicals, they're absolutely the worst sort of sinners. They are. They're all sinners.
So if you ask for forgiveness for your meth use, you may be forgiven, but you're not going to grow that tooth back.
Well, you'd have to ask Steve Bannon, allegedly. I mean, allegedly, Steve Bannon was a meth guy. And allegedly, Steve Bannon was a criminal, defrauding the Trump supportive, build that wall.
But back
Steal
to
from the people.
but briefly,
It's very obvious.
But that meth head, former meth head, allegedly
like had a condo in
was
Florida.
the campaign manager for Donald Trump.
Well,
I'm a
yes,
street fighter.
yes, he was, and so was Manafort. Paul Manafort. No, I'm not saying that Paul Manafort
was what?
His campaign manager, but I'm not suggesting
Yes.
he was on drugs. But I'm saying the
Oh,
content
okay.
of his character.
Oh, terrible.
I mean, come on, man. Working for the Russians, working for the Ukrainians.
If we judge human beings by the content of their character, just think of Trump and his associates. I mean, be it Rudy, be it Don Jr. Look, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, but Manafort and Roger Stone and all the highly desirable types that he associates
the
with.
very best people.
Didn't the My Pillow guy, wasn't he also a drug addict?
It isn't truth. Truth isn't truth.
I don't remember about the pillow guy.
No, the My Pillow guy, literally, I believe, a meth head. And then, found God and made pillows and got rich and supported Trump. It's like all full circle.
So it makes sense that it would just so casually roll off Donald Trump's tongue. That, yeah, I mean, of course, we see how Biden is doing now. Yeah, it's got to be drugs. That's what I hear. People are talking about it. I wouldn't be surprised. I do it allegedly, because that's how it rolls. And bad for everybody else. Good for me. Good for mine. I got a prescription for it, so it's all good. See, if you don't have a prescription for it, then it's bad. But if you're Donald Trump and you're a billionaire, you're the president, pretty sure you can get a script for just about anything you want.
I wish I could get a script for weed. I mean, other states, I could try 40 minutes from now and I could get a script for weed. Or I could just walk into a dispensary in South Beloit. That's what I want to do, man. I know we're off topic. Talking about Biden's drug use, not mine.
Alleged but drug use.
Yes,
Trump,
I've never used drugs.
Donald Trump saying Joe Biden is using drugs because he can answer a question. Wow.
Well, that's always been a struggle for Trump.
Yeah.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates Fridays. Sometimes a struggle, but not when you join us. 844-967-2789. If you go out protesting, Trump's going to put you down like an insurrection.
Uh-oh.
We'll tell you about that. That was all part of that big interview last night on the Foxy News.
You take drugs, Danny?
I don't want to create a panic.
Diversity and diversity.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
So thank you.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The Lazy Oaf Lounge is Madison's East Side place for friends and family. The Lazy Oaf is now open for dine-in and carry-out. Check out the new menu with awesome apps, burgers done to perfection, stone hearth fired pizzas, and Friday fish fry. And live music on the patio Thursday and Saturday evenings. Like the Lazy Oaf Lounge on Facebook and see the full menu at lazyoaflounge.com. The Lazy Oaf Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road, Madison.
Whiz Cannabis Radio is brought to you by Herbal Aspect, Madison's #1 CBD brand. You can catch the show live on our social channels. Just search for Whiz Cannabis Radio. Herbal Aspect is a local, black-owned small business. For more information, go to herbalaspect.com.
Join me, Stephanie Miller, and the entire Sexy Liberal Resistance every morning from 8 to 11 for the Stephanie Miller Show right here on 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. Listen live Monday through Friday on Devil Radio, Wisconsin's home for progressive news talk radio.
Listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson joins us on the phone regarding our military influence. Aren't we selling arms right now to Saudi Arabia, and aren't they using munitions that they have purchased from us in their war?
And if we weren't doing that, because they've got plenty of money, they'll buy less precise munitions from other people, and the bloodshed would be worse.
Well, the blood might be on someone else's hands then, Ron.
Well, I'm going to talk to you about that, Ron.
Stay informed with progressive news and talk on 92.7, Wisconsin's home for Devil Radio.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open. Happy Friday. We air grievances. You can join us, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I know this ain't sports talk, but NFL kickoff weekend, I got to tell you, I'm a little excited, at least till it all comes crashing down because of COVID, which will be hopefully not until, later in the season. But the Packers this Sunday at noon, I'm very excited. I've converted. Have you noticed?
Oh, I see that now.
I've flipped.
Yes.
I've started wearing the Packer cap with great regularity.
I do not recognize you without the red Badger cap. I'm sorry.
My mother-in-law actually gave me a hat washing device to put in the dishwasher.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't wanted to actually wreck any of the hats yet. Trying that, if I put the wrong soap in, what kind of soap do you put in? Normal soap?
Don't know the rules. I would imagine just whatever you put in the dishwasher.
Well, the Badger hat, very filthy at this moment. I haven't dishwashed it yet.
Well, hell, it's a new season. Can't you just go get a new one?
It's about that time.
It is about that time.
But there will be no Badger season, apparently.
It's
all on hold.
It's all on hold? I mean, 10%
of
the Badger athletes are infected with COVID, right? 10%?
Yes. And if you talk about the student body, it's real high. And it's very disappointing, as a Badger. And truly, I've always seen myself as a Badger. Someone sent me, I just read you a nice little message from a lady, and I got a less nice message.
Yeah.
Trudy, you were always ready to move out of Milwaukee with a U-Haul truck at the ready. And I'm like, what gave you that impression? And I think it was the Badger hat.
See.
I never was Marquette abrasive.
You weren't a Panther guy.
Don't care much about the Bucks. I got to be honest. I'm a Brewers fan.
Well, there you go.
And drugs. I'm a fan of drugs.
Football started yesterday.
It did. Last night, my kid brought like 3 other filthy little COVID vectors over to watch the game last night.
Oh, all together in the Petri dish. That's nice.
Downstairs. You boys go downstairs. I'll watch the game upstairs. So we watched it. 5 of us in cumulative in the household, 2 different TVs. None of them over the air. We watched on Hulu.
Who was playing? Chiefs, yeah.
And Texans.
Who won?
Chiefs overwhelmingly won the game. At least last I checked. It was like 30-7 at the half. It wasn't a close game. But before the game, Tom, they came together as teams. They did a little solidarity move.
Both teams combined.
Yes.
Locking arms.
Arm in arm at midfield.
What a beautiful gesture.
Yes. And during the moment of silence to recognize racial equity and those that have fallen, many of which have been shot by cops, the Kansas City crowd booed. It was a stirring moment.
Not all the crowd.
Well, Dominic, there was only 16,000 allowed into the stadium for this game. I was a little surprised to see any crowd, but there was a crowd enough to boo and to be heard. Booing.
We have some sound, Brian, if you would please. Let's play this. The NFL opener last night, a sign of unity, a pause for reflection. And this is how some in the crowd took it. Oh, you don't have it? Oh, we have Andy. We'll start with Andy Reid then. Okay. This is after the fact. This is the coach after the fact, after the booing. We'll find the booing. Sit tight, people. Let's hear the Coach Reid comments.
I didn't really notice it.
I thought that was kind of a neat deal, just both sides coming together for a cause. And it was, the story was told there. And so whether it was the national anthems and how those were presented, and the singers, I mean, Alicia Keys was phenomenal. And, and then guys joining hands together for a cause. And so we can all learn from this. And really it's just to make us all better and even a stronger country than we already are. I mean, we have a chance to just be completely unstoppable when all hands join together. And that's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. It's a great sentiment, but unfortunately, as we know, a certain percentage of the people in this world are a-holes.
Boo! A little bit more Patrick Mahomes, the all-pro quarterback, on behalf of they're the world champs, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, playing their first game, picking up their first win last night, but not before the home folks booed them. If you would, Fancy Brian, play the Patrick Mahomes.
I talked with Deshaun a good amount and some of those other guys on the Texans as well as talking with our team. And I thought we came out with a great plan, obviously, for us as the Chiefs, but also with the Texans showing unity on the field.
One more from Mahomes, if you would.
Being down there, honestly didn't hear a lot of
Yeah,
booing.
you did.
I've seen a little bit of the videos after, and I'm just we wanted to show unity, and we wanted to show we were going to come together and keep fighting the good fight. And I hope our fans will support us like they do on the game every single day.
By booing. You heard him. Real quick, Dom, a uplifting headline, if you will, football related. Former Packers coach Mike Holmgren to campaign for Joe Biden. Dateline, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Former Green Bay Packers coach Mike Holmgren is backing Joe Biden's campaign and will host a virtual press conference Saturday to discuss how President Trump's mishandled coronavirus response has hurt Green Bay businesses, according to an advisory from the Biden campaign. There's simply too much at stake in this election to sit on the sidelines. See what he did there? Holmgren said in a statement, "We need a leader like Joe Biden to help us build back better." I hate that. The press conference will come on the eve of the Packers opening the season against the Minnesota Vikings in Minneapolis. They're going to crush the Vikings. Holmgren is expected to be joined in Green Bay by Mayor Eric Gingrich and will argue the scaled-down season is a result of Trump's failure to respond to the coronavirus pandemic. You know it is. Holmgren, world champion, former Green Bay Packer coach. He's one of the good guys. Joe Biden, one of the good guys. Maybe on performance-enhancing drugs, like Tony Mandarich was.
You could have had Barry Sanders.
And we had Mondo. Too bad he didn't stay on the drugs. He was much better on drugs.
So are you.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Sans drugs. 844-967-2789.
Talk it up, man.
If that were football standards, NFL standards, he ran for about 2,000 yards in one game.
Kind of grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
Stay informed with progressive news and talk on Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, Dane County's choice for essential radio.
It's Oktoberfest at Full Mile Beer Company and Kitchen, Saturday, September 19th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Drive through or walk up to get your 32-ounce growlers of Full Mile beer and classic German fare. Order at our tent behind Full Mile and we'll deliver to you without having to leave your car. And help Full Mile Beer Company raise money for the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. It's a drive-through or walk-up Oktoberfest, Saturday, September 19th at the Full Mile Beer Company and Kitchen, downtown Sun Prairie, and online at fullmilebeercompany.com.
The Devil's Advocates are live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
You guys are getting it done.
You boys are the light of my day, and I've been listening to you for many years.
I love you guys. You're the greatest thing that has happened to Wisconsin radio.
If it wasn't for your radio program and getting out the vote, who knows?
I got to give you guys so many props.
I'm pretty sure your guys' radio station had a direct impact on that.
You're welcome, everybody, and thank you.
Coronavirus update. I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. The United Nations group that focuses on poverty is warning the worst impacts of the coronavirus are yet to come.
Olivia de Schutter, a Belgian legal scholar appointed by the UN, says the social safety nets put into place are full of holes and that these current measures are generally short-term, the funding insufficient, with many people inevitably falling through the cracks. The Shutter adds the economic downturn resulting from the pandemic is unprecedented in times of peace since the Great Depression in the 1930s. And he warns 176 million additional people worldwide are vulnerable, with just a little over $3 per day being used as the poverty baseline. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
People in Britain's second largest city, Birmingham, are being told to stop socializing in a dramatic tightening of coronavirus restrictions in the wake of a sharp spike in new cases. I'm Ed Donahue.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
Back to work at that job, the one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. 1 week before absentee ballots must be mailed to voters, the Wisconsin Supreme Court has advised local clerks not to send them out yet. Wisconsin state law requires absentee ballots to be sent 47 days before an election, which is Thursday, September 17th. The decision to temporarily halt the sending out of ballots is due to a last-minute attempt by third-party candidates to be on Wisconsin's ballot for November. The Wisconsin Elections Commission says 2.3 million ballots have already been printed, and up to 375,000 ballots could have already been sent to voters ahead of next week's deadline. Per the Marquette University Law School poll released earlier this week, 47% of likely Democratic voters plan to vote absentee, while that number drops to only 18% of likely Republican voters. You're listening to Devil Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Happy Friday, high day to us all, especially you, Donald Trump, and maybe even you, Joe Biden, if allegations are true.
Allegedly.
Don, we got some fine guests coming up later in this big show in the 4 o'clock happy hour. We've got a couple of candidates. Abby Lowery, a candidate for Wisconsin's Assembly District 37. And Scott Mikulak, you remember him? We partied with him at the DPW. He was not pro-weed. Scott, I hope your attitude has changed. It was part of the Democratic platform back then, not so much anymore. But anyways, Abby Lowery, I look forward to meeting her on the radio at 4:06. Mark Waldon also partied with our buddy Mark at a DPW. Years gone by, used to be one of our favorite parties of the year. Mark also doing his civic duty, running as a candidate for Wisconsin's Assembly District number 50. Mark Waldon joins us in the 420 slot, the vaunted 420. Going to catch up with our buddy crazy Lenny Mattioli as well. I'm sure he'll mention e-bikes, but Lenny wants to talk politics today. What could go wrong?
I'm sure. I can't wait to talk some politics with Lenny. Always love talking business with a guy like Lenny, but to get into the politics, a lot of people shy away from that. I look forward to that discussion.
I'm not clear that Lenny is going to vote in November. He's a little disgruntled, kind of like you, Dom.
We'll talk about Lenny coming up later in the happy hour. And you, our fine audience, will get to you this segment, I promise, 844-967-2789.
Before we jump to the phones or any other headlines, a couple of other quick thoughts. Tonight is the virtual Fighting Bob Fest. our friends at the Progressive Magazine, Norm Stockwell and company, putting on a virtual Facebook live stream event. I promised I'd help promote it. I'm doing so now. I think we also put it up on our Facebook page. That event going off 7 to 9 p.m. Got some big headliners. I know our pal John Nichols, Senator Tammy Baldwin. I think Mark Pocan's a part. I believe Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes is a part. You can be a part. Join them tonight on the Facebook live stream, a universal Fighting Bob Fest, a virtual Fighting Bob Fest. But you're universally invited.
2020 sucks, man. I mean, Fighting Bob Fest was always a fun thing as well.
We used to go broadcast from Fighting Bob Fest,
And then
initially on the Friday night kickoff.
Yep.
And also tonight and today, 9/11, 20 years later.
19.
19? My bad. That's why I don't do math on the radio, Tom.
Yes, a solemn day. We'll get to that topic as well today, as well as your phone calls, 844-967-2789. Before we do, and again, we will, Brian, the clip we played earlier, I just kind of want to repeat this because this was, Donald Trump commenting on Joe Biden, whether or not Joe was on some performance-enhancing drugs, given how well he's been speaking lately. I'll play that one more time, if you would, please, Brian.
There's probably possibly drugs involved. That's what I hear. I mean, there's possibly drugs. I don't know how you can go from being so bad where you can't even get out a sentence. I mean, you saw some of those debates with the large number of people on the stage. He was, I mean, I used to say, how is it possible that he can even go forward?
I wonder the same thing about you, Donald Trump. That was Trump on an interview with Jeanine Pirro from the Foxy News. It's taped on Thursday.
She's
expected to be aired on Saturday.
She's the drunken former judge, allegedly.
she seems
allegedly
to
drunken.
Be a little thick-tongued sometimes when I have the unfortunate.
Happens to the best of us, Tom.
Well, you know. But this same interview also, this was discussed, and we want to throw this one out there for your consideration as well. Reporting from the Hill, President Trump said Thursday he would very quickly stifle riots on election night if Democrats organized protests against his potential victory, suggesting he would do so by employing a law allowing him to deploy active duty troops domestically. Here's a quote from the fascist in chief. We'll put them down very quickly if they do that. We have the right to do that. We have the power to do that if we want, Trump told Fox News host Jeanine Pirro. Look, it's called insurrection. We'll just send in and we do it. Very easy. I mean, it's very easy. I'd rather not do that because there's no reason for it. But if we had to, we'd do that and put it down within minutes. Trump appeared to be referring to the Insurrection Act, an 1807 law that authorizes the commander-in-chief to deploy U.S. troops domestically to enforce federal or state laws under certain circumstances. The law has been used in rare and extreme cases in U.S. history, and Trump endured backlash when he suggested he could use the provision earlier this year to quell protests following the police killing of George Floyd. What's the worst that could happen, Crudy? You're the insurrection, man. You're the Antifa of the radio. Insurrection radio, baby.
I'm the good-looking one. 844-967-2789. Joe from Madison, you've been patient. Thank you. Welcome.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
1 second, Joe. Are you there?
I'm there.
All right. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for calling. What do you got for us today?
Well, I think possibly drugs may be involved, but I think the president might have the wrong person. There was a lovely comment that he made, and you, with your ties to Detroit, will probably appreciate this one particularly, Dom. He was in Michigan day before, the 10th, I believe it was, and he had this lovely line that he told his rally crowd. He said, Michigan gave us Motang. Then he amended it to say it gave us Motown and it gave us the Mustang. So I'm really hopeful that the Fancy Brian can come up with some Motang songs as bumps today to sort of remind us of who's got the drug problems and who doesn't. I'm thinking particularly, I'll request this. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. But I would really like to hear Motang Sally myself.
Well, I was thinking Wang Tang Sweet Motang.
You go for it. I'm sure you can find it. I'm sure you can find the clip, but I find it hysterical that the man of who describes Motang, that wonderful contribution from Detroit, would be talking about drug use. Yeah, look in the mirror a little bit, buddy. Look in the mirror. Thanks, buddies.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. I did not hear that particular one, though it does not surprise me.
Wang Tang, Sweet Motang. The Motor City Madman. He's a Michigan guy, isn't he?
And he's kind of a Trumpster, if I recall. 844-967-2789.
You got that cat scratch fever, Dom?
Dave from Mequon. Oh, no, he found us.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave, welcome.
Hey, guys. Listen, I just wanted to give you a heads up. So do you know why the Texans and the Chiefs, why they were booed? Do you have an idea as to why that is? I can tell you, but do you have an idea?
Well, since it's a rhetorical question, Dave, why don't you answer it?
All right. So the Texans did not come out for the national anthem. They sat in the locker room. And that really pissed off a lot of people. They just, I mean,
Dave, not so long ago, none of the NFL players came out for the national anthem.
Not till they started paying them. This is all about supporting our military through ad dollars.
Well, irregardless.
It's not really irregardless, and that's not a word, but that's kind of the history of it, Dave. You take such umbrage with the fact that they're now doing the same thing they did before.
Well, I'm taking the fact that, listen, these ball players are making hundreds of millions of dollars
and risking their life and limb at times to play the sport they obviously love. And not everyone's getting rich.
It's a game.
It is a game, but it's also a vocation.
Hey, it's all a game, Dave. What are you talking about?
Well, at the end of the day, do you really have empathy with ball players that are making, 100 times or 1,000 times what the average person is?
The average NFL player's got like a 4-year career, sir.
But that
unless that's setting them off for the rest of their lives, and very unpredictable living. You could blow out an ACL. Very little of the NFL money is guaranteed money.
About that.
Sure.
Again,
okay, but Dave, let me ask you though. You're asking about whether or not we have empathy for them. You're identifying how much they make, and we're talking about the consequences of their employment. But what's your point?
Yeah.
Empathy for them for what? For standing up for Black Lives Matter, for addressing what they and and many people perceive as to be systemic racism in our country, Dave.
Did you hear?
Dave, you're ignoring me, David. David, no, I'm not going to let it go, Dave.
I'm answering the question.
Okay,
right
go ahead.
I have yet to hear a player. We've had all sorts of murders going on in Milwaukee this past week, and there's not been anything from any players whatsoever. And so it only relates to when an officer shoots a black person. Outside of that, there's no talk, there's no discussion that you have kids being murdered in Milwaukee on a daily basis.
Since Donald Trump is supposedly worth about as much as an entire team makes at all, why do you listen to him at all? Because if you're making this whole argument that, they make so much money, why should you listen to them or empathize with them? Well, you're worshiping a dude who makes a whole bunch of money and shouldn't be listened to either.
Billionaire.
Well, again, you're comparing with Donald Trump with players that, as far as
he was a trust fund baby. He was a trust fund baby. I have no respect for Donald Trump. He never.
They at least work out and tried.
Life.
All right, fellas, hang on. Dave, and we appreciate you calling, man. I want to ask you one question because a lot of the conservatives have kind of been laying low lately. The tapes that have come out of Donald Trump saying he downplays this deadly disease and this is airborne back in February, which certainly contradict his public statements. What do you, as a conservative, have to say about that, Dave?
So what I would say is this, is that as far as with the virus, and you listen to what Dr. Fauci just said the other day, he corroborated with what Donald Trump said, both publicly and privately.
Well, he said earlier today, we haven't turned the corner. He completely contradicts Trump on the very most recent statement Trump made on the coronavirus, which is doubling down on the downplaying of a very serious situation. Dave, glad you found us. The note says, actually, that's unfortunate, but, we're glad you still listen and contribute occasionally. 844-967-2789. Be like Dave from Mequon, just more likable. Mark from the SAC, welcome back.
Hey, Mark.
How are you, Mark?
Thanks, guys. Doing okay today. It's pretty rich listening to Admiral Adderall talking about Joe Biden's I was listening to the radio today and heard that in the past, that Ron DeSantis has been downplaying the numbers in Florida, ordering health departments not to collect data or even release the data on the number of people sickened by corona, the number of deaths, and now he's welcoming the kids back to school. And what the hell is with the Republican playbook here? I mean, that it's just insane. I mean, that if you added up the hidden numbers from these Republican states, my guess is we'd be over the top as far as 200,000 deaths from corona.
Give it a weekend. We'll get there, Mark. We'll get there.
It just makes one sad and horrified, and that. Sorry, Dave. I mean, that you excuse this president for hiding from the American people the true threat of this disease for months, calling it a hoax after you admitted on tape. You got it on tape, admitting how dangerous this disease is, and you were calling it a hoax. In the weeks following that, that I don't know how anybody can support Trump. I mean that.
But Mark, I mean, no matter what, and that's again the result of the cult mentality.
The drugs help.
Drugs certainly help. I mean, that kind of got him in the problem in the first place, right? Drugs are bad. Mark, they're going to continue to find justification to follow this man. I mean, they've already sold their souls in this regard. What else do they have left? There's nothing left. So guys like Dave, no matter what Donald Trump does, is going to continue to support this man. And I just want to get him on the record. And he's saying, okay, apparently he's fine with the contradictions. He's fine with Donald Trump telling Woodward, man, this is dangerous. This is terrible. This is airborne. This is deadly. This is 5 times as deadly as your most strenuous flus. Those kinds of things being said in February and March. And I'd like to think that we're adult enough as citizens of this country that we could have handled the same information that he gave to Bob Woodward, but he did not tell us that. And why did he not do that? Because he was concerned about the effects on his election. That's why.
This being 9/11, I know many have used the statistical reference and said, this COVID, this pandemic has cost as many lives as like 67 9/11s. But don't say that to a conservative because they'll, come back with us. They're always so articulate in their arguments.
Well, until they take the drugs.
Mike. 844-967-2789. We got more Trump on the other side.
I'm cognitively there.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Get your words straight, Jack.
For voters with a disability, exercising the right to vote can be a difficult task, but during a pandemic, it can be nearly impossible. The Wisconsin Disability Vote Coalition encourages you to check your voter registration online and request an absentee ballot for the November general election at myvote.wi.gov. Questions about your registration or requesting an absentee ballot? Call 1-800-DIS-VOTE. That's 1-800-DIS-VOTE or go to disabilityvote.org.
Make your plan to vote today.
This message brought to you in part by the Wisconsin Disability Vote Coalition.
Max Inc. Radio, this is Rocker. Hey, Jimmy, Operation Double Dip Distraction is a go. Vladdy just needs the bread right away. Did Agent Orange give you the check in Oshkosh? He said it was in the mail. Oh, no!
Did the president really tell Jimmy the check was in the mail? Tune in Saturday and Sunday, 6 to 9 for local music, interviews, and more. It's Max Inc. Radio with Jimmy K and Rocker.
Do you think the Q guys work on credit?
Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Madison, tune in every weekday from 11 to 2 on Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM for the Thom Hartmann program. Join the show's conversation because our democracy is not a spectator sport. Listen live right here on Devil Radio.
Senator Ron Johnson talking about staying out of bars. How does that pair with your thought that schools should reopen in the fall? You got a room full of school students or a room full of bar patrons. What's the difference?
Because schools, students, it's rare, very rare to have them have a very serious medical effect from COVID.
The Devil's Advocates are live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
You shouldn't have older school teachers or school teachers with some of the comorbidities.
Unlike the legislative Republicans, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM are working through the pandemic to keep you informed. Streaming 24/7 at DARNWI.com.
The drugs, but the drugs like me. The drugs.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
So thank you.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday to us all. Please join us on the phones at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, the entire Trump team coming to Wisconsin next week. We got Donald Trump coming to Mosinee on September 18th. That's Friday.
Again?
Mosinee doing the same airplane hangar, probably the same 95 decibel.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Blasting the crowd. And if you saw that rally yesterday, Trump did an airplane hangar rally in Michigan yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Attacked the governor, Whitmer, and that kind of stuff. I'm sure he'll attack Tony Evers when he comes back. He did it the last time. Why not do it again? But everyone will be packed in an airplane hangar. No one, other than a handful of Secret Service agents, will probably wear a mask. And, he'll regale them with stories and COVID.
And how his campaign was spied upon.
Oh, that perhaps.
And he'll instill so much fear in them and threaten that if he is not reelected, that anarchists are going to move out to the suburbs.
My understanding, Pence coming to Janesville on Monday. They play us in Janesville, 103.5. Shout out. So I don't know, man. Might try to make it down to Pence or something on Monday. See what happens. And Don Jr., Fredo.
What?
Fredo's coming back. Yeah. I hope he's got a good deal here locally.
You almost have to,
You know, with the lower number of people on domestic flights, I mean, do you think the TSA, do you think they do a better job drug screening?
They got time to go through
doing
it
the
all.
pat downs?
I'm smart and I want respect.
One would hope the campaign that's already burned through nearly $1 billion. Well, I got to think he's not flying commercial. He's not on Southwest.
Where's Junior going?
Damn it, I forget. Like Rothschild, some place that was off the beaten path. It wasn't like
kept pretty much in the dark.
Yeah, it wasn't.
He doesn't even know where he's going.
It wasn't a big destination. But anyways, 2 Trumps and a Pence coming to Wisconsin next week.
Trump.
Nice.
Pants. Trump.
That is Fitzgerald, the conductor of the Trump train.
Oh, he's there again.
Fitzy will be there.
That was last time around.
And Rothman, he'll be there. The whole hee-haw gang. Scott Walker will be there.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah.
Ron Johnson?
Yeah.
Ron?
Big time.
Senator Johnson?
Well, that is an interesting question.
Well,
I understand Ron's doing some media rounds early part of next week, but one must assume Ron Johnson will also be there.
I know nothing. 844-967-2789. Let's keep going on the phones. Happy Friday. Lori, you are up. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, Lori.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Mhm.
I just wanted to mention where I'm at in California, I've never seen it so bad with the fires.
Yeah.
Air quality is horrendous, and it just north here up in Oregon. My God, what they're going through there is just terrible. But really, my point for calling is that I just can't imagine anybody experiencing this right now, especially being displaced and being a Trump supporter. If nothing else, his saying that, climate change is a hoax, and the idea that our summers are hotter and drier, getting hotter and drier, and all this is measurable. And it's like, how in the hell could somebody be experiencing this at all and, continue to be a Trump supporter? That's pretty much all I wanted to call in about.
Lori, are you in the Humboldt, Eureka part of California, Northern California?
Yep.
And
Humboldt, that's it.
how badly is your community being affected by the wildfires? Are people being displaced? We understand in Oregon, like Half a million people have been told to flee their homes. I live in Dane County, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. The whole county is about 500,000 people. That'd be like telling our whole county, get up and move. You're on fire.
Well, I actually read, I don't know, I actually read that in Oregon, 1/10 of the population in Oregon is displaced. And I just happened to read that, but my God, but Humboldt, the southern part of the state, parts are evacuated. I'm in the northern part, but I mean, the thing is that if you wanted to leave here just to get out of the air quality and smoke, there's nowhere to go because there's, fires in literally every direction. And there's some roads that are closed and, you don't want to get in the way of emergency personnel. It's just, it just boggles me. I mean, how can, somebody be going through this and continue, to be a Trump supporter? It's just
Lori, I haven't heard the president, I haven't heard Trump mention these wildfires, except I believe something to the effect of asking why you don't rake the forest floor better, get rid of the underbrush. It's kind of your fault. You Californians, you're not doing a good enough job with the forest management. The forest fires and the climate change, that's on you, Lori.
No, exactly. But the thing is, I mean, I'm understanding that the fires are even affecting the state of Washington, and so it's basically you're talking about the whole West Coast. And what is it, Governor Inslee there in Washington?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
But I mean, I understand. I mean, he is so wonderful about the climate change and everything. But I don't know. It's just I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Everybody, please vote. But God, just and
it is. It takes your breath away, Lori. Thank you for the call, and good luck to you and the family and all your neighbors out there.
Listening on KGOE in Eureka, California, and you got to be careful out there. Really, literally, you have to be careful because your life is affected by wildfires. And once upon a time, my wife, at some point in our lives, when we get a little older, closer to retirement, wants to move somewhere like towards the desert Southwest. And I've always said, skip the desert. Let's go all the way to California, baby. The West Coast, the left coast. They're doing it right there. Except the state is burning. It is literally burning.
Also, Crudy, Washington Post reporting to Lori's point, in Oregon, record-breaking wildfires continue to move at an alarming pace and had put an estimated 500,000 residents, over 10% of the state's population, under an evacuation order or a warning or order as of Thursday. 10% of the state's population under evacuation warning or order. That's scary stuff.
Half the college kids in my hometown are under quarantine. That's sort of the opposite, right?
Making America great again.
Ain't it great? Keeping it great. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Hour 2 is next.
9, 11.
That's amazing. How did you do that?
We're in the spirit world. Totally can't see us.
Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Hey folks, Jimmy K here from Hotel K Pet Sitting and Dog Walking. Hotel K is your pet's new best friend, offering dog walks, cat care visits, and professional house sitting in the greater Madison area. Our pet sitters are experienced, dependable, and offer you peace of mind while you're away. Schedule now at freebellyrubs.com. freebellyrubs.com. Hotel K Pet Sitting and Dog Walking. freebellyrubs.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Santita Jackson of The Santita Jackson Show. Every Thursday morning at 7 o'clock, say hello, somebody, and join former Bernie Sanders co-chair, former state senator Nina Turner on The Santita Jackson Show on 92.7 FM.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus and W224EG 92.7 FM Madison. Always streaming at talk927fm.com.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Jen He Cho's sister died in the 9/11 attacks 19 years ago today.
I understand that it's been 19 years, but to me, the wound is still there. Like it's been, the wound is always fresh.
The anniversary brought the two presidential candidates the closest they've been in months. The AP's Sagar Magani reports it shows off differences in style.
At the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where 40 passengers brought down the hijacked plane, President Trump proclaimed America's might.
No matter the odds, America will always rise up, stand tall, and fight back.
Hours later,
It's a pleasure to meet you.
it's my honor to meet you. Democratic challenger Joe Biden greeted families of those killed on the plane. The two candidates did not meet, but Biden did share a moment earlier with his vice presidential successor, an elbow bump with Mike Pence at New York's Ground Zero, a rare moment of détente in a nasty campaign. Sagar Magani, Washington.
President Trump announced an agreement between Bahrain and Israel to normalize relations.
We think ultimately you'll have most countries join, and you're going to have the Palestinians in a very good position. They want to come in. They're going to want to come in because all of their friends are in.
Also at the White House.
Pat, you personify the motto, Rangers lead the way, and you inspire us all.
Sergeant Major Thomas Patrick Payne received the Medal of Honor for a daring 2015 rescue of dozens of hostages in Iraq. A tally from Johns Hopkins University shows coronavirus deaths across the country are declining. Iowa, North Carolina, West Virginia, and Kansas are among the states still seeing increases in daily deaths. The Treasury Department says the budget deficit hit an all-time high, $3 trillion. This is AP News.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
Back to work at that job, the one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Look, I'm voting for Joe Biden for a really simple reason. He actually has a plan to stop all the pain and suffering. I'm just tired of seeing so many lives cut way too short. Worst of all, everyone knows it wouldn't be this bad if we only had a real leader in charge. I mean, seriously, ask yourself, where is Trump's plan? Where is his plan to save American lives? Where is his plan to get our economy back on track? After so many months of suffering, how does he still not have a plan? And it could take a generation for us to recover. Hundreds of thousands of jobs have been lost in Wisconsin alone. Thankfully, Joe's plan is based on science. It'll tackle the pandemic, get our economy started again, and help working families. We just can't wait 4 years for a president to take charge. We need to take action today. Go to iwillvote.com to register to vote and request an absentee ballot. Remember, iwillvote.com. That's all it takes to vote from home safely and securely. It's quick, it's easy. You can do it right now.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
I'm Rocker, and this is my vodka. Rocker Vodka made right here in Madison, Wisconsin. Enjoy Rocker cocktails at the Dark Horse by Sal's on East Washington every Saturday on the patio from 2 to 5 p.m. It's extended happy hour with live music. Find Rocker Vodka and Rocker Rye Whiskey at Steve's Liquor, Woodman's Total Wine, Vic Pierce, Festival Foods, and more. For more information, visit rockervodka.com.
Stream the Devils and Progressive News and Talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Whiz Cannabis Radio is brought to you by Herbal Aspect, Madison's #1 CBD brand. You can catch the show live on our social channels. Just search for Whiz Cannabis Radio. Herbal Aspect is a local, black-owned small business. For more information, go to herbalaspect.com.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Wisconsin reports record-breaking 1,547 COVID-19 cases yesterday, nearly one-third of those being reported in Dane County. The 7-day rolling average for Wisconsin is now above 1,000 cases for the first time. 456 new cases were reported in Dane County yesterday, and this week, Madison city officials have stated that if you live or work in downtown Madison, you should assume that you have been exposed to COVID-19 and self-monitor for symptoms. Forecast for today is cloudy with a chance of rain throughout the evening, high of 62 degrees. Currently, it is 53. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back, hour 2 of the Friday Highday edition of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We do this for you people, and really for our own fun and enjoyment and pleasure. NFL kickoff weekend, talked about that. Looking forward to the Packers on Sunday. And Dominic, we're looking forward to talking to our fair audience members in just a moment at 844-967-2789. And we got Trump Pence coming to the state of Wisconsin next week. Donald Trump coming on Friday to Mosinee. Pence coming to Janesville on Monday. And Donald Trump Jr. going somewhere. I will not be there. Wherever Trump Jr. is going to be, no, I won't be there.
You know, I did see Trump Jr. speak to the women Republican Party of Wisconsin or something along those lines in Brookfield last time around.
Oh, aren't you special?
Johnny Jr., so charming.
Did you guys bump up together in the bathroom? 844-967-2789.
Pretty much in the dark.
844-967-2789. Tony from Portland, back to the left coast. Welcome, man. What do you got for us?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, guys. Yeah, it's pretty bad here. I live in the southeast, so it's very close to Milwaukee and Oregon City, which is just over. And me and a buddy of mine went out to the Clackamas Town Center, which is it's a big mall type thing, and there's just RVs parked everywhere. People coming from Malala and Canby. I got two friends staying with me that got evacuated. One of them was from Phoenix, Oregon, and my other buddy is from Oak Ridge, which is outside of Eugene. And they had to evacuate, so they're staying with me right now. And then I got a cousin who's in Oregon City, who's, he might be showing up here soon because they're on like a level 2 evacuation. They don't have to evacuate yet, but this morning it looked like the thickest fog you ever saw, but it wasn't fog. It was just pure smoke. And it's freaky, because it all of a sudden just kind of, at least for me, it just snuck up. It just came, we're dealing with the forest on fire, and there's certain towns that are, around the forest and everything. They're always worried, but our suburbs, these are suburbs, literally metropolitan suburbs of Portland that are on fire right now. And it's freaky.
Well, man, any concerns? Obviously, you open up your home to those in need, but any concern about COVID?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, but what am I going to do? Turn them away? I mean, one's a cousin, and the other two are friends. So, I mean, I don't think I really have a choice at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say no when I have room. You know, it's I guess, you know, this is something I'm willing to take a chance for. I'm not going to
Sure.
go to a stupid Trump rally and take a chance. But, you know, if I got to open up my home to people I care about
Yeah.
and risk getting COVID, then I don't think I really have a choice at that point.
Tony, what's your thought on the political responses? We know Trump has historically said, you know, global warming is a hoax, but perpetrated by China. You know, I mean, those kinds of things versus the comments that Joe Biden has on global climate change. Tony, do you see the contrast? What are your thoughts?
Well, what pisses me off is all of this crap about, you know, taking care of the forest. We got to do better forest management. How about we quit pumping carbon into the air? You know, how about we start cutting down emissions and trying to go to zero carbon, you know, go back to the Paris Accord and try doing that stuff instead of raking the damn forest. I don't know who's going to go out and rake the forest. I mean, I'm sure there's something you can do. There's diseased trees from droughts that are dry, and there's plenty of stuff we could probably clear out, do extra, you know, what do they call that, back burning or whatever. And I'm sure there's a lot of things we could do that we're not doing. But I think the one thing that we could stop freaking doing is pumping the amount of carbon in the air and making more methane available to our communities. Those, I think, would be better options than raking the forest.
Appreciate the call. Be safe out there, Tony. Kamala Harris was one of the original co-signers onto the Green New Deal. Now, Joe has been more of a all of the above guy in terms of energy, and that concerns me somewhat. Perhaps Joe can be drag kicking and screaming to my advocacy to ban fracking and to perhaps put a cork on fossil fuel usage. We need a Green New Deal. I mean, our entire economy needs a change in trajectory, and it needs to be something massive and big and probably governmental funded. And if it's not Joe Biden, it's certainly not going to be Donald Trump.
Well, it's not going to be Donald Trump. We know that. He doesn't think that global climate change is any sort of an issue that we need to be concerned about. So it's not going to be Trump. And, you know, my concern is seemingly the lack of conversation in this regard. I mean, these forest fires right now, obviously 10% of Oregon residents under a warning are told to evacuate. All these fires going on in California right now. I mean, the West is on fire right now. If you've seen some of the pictures, it's beautifully terrible.
Eerie.
Yeah. I mean, it is something. And you think we would hear more about these issues, specifically climate change, what their plans are to do regarding it. And Trump ignores it. And the Biden campaign would do well to put this one to the top of the list.
He doesn't have any plan for a second term. He was questioned, what's your plan for a second term? Doesn't have an answer. 844-967-2789. Going back to the phones. Jack from Merrimack, also a patient man. Jack, welcome. What do you got for us?
Hey, Jack.
Hey, I'm going to change the subject here. I don't think this has been discussed enough. You know, the Wisconsin Supreme Court basically thrown our November election into chaos by the order to delay the printing of absentee and mail-in ballots. And these were approved according to law by the state election board, and even two of the three Republican appointees on the court voted in favor of it. You know, this is Supreme Court again, according to law. And printing some of those ballots in the more populous, democratic, of course, areas of the state has already been started. More than 1 million ballots have been requested. Isn't it peculiar this court, which is able to, within a couple of hours, rule on either's attempt to delay the April primary, can't, within a couple of hours, decide the ballot issue?
You know, I actually see their perspective in a certain point of view, and here's why. It was a 3-3 deadlock at the Wisconsin Elections Commission whether or not the Green Party candidate Howie Hawkins should be included on the Wisconsin ballot. There was not resolution offered, not up or down. And effectively, it was just a stalemate that meant no addition of the Green Party candidate on the ballot. I think, and we haven't really investigated the incongruence between the addresses on the vice presidential candidate. I believe her name Walker. Of course, it's a Walker. But there were some discrepancies in the addresses that she listed as the home address, the vice presidential candidate on the Green Party ticket. Now, I don't know the campaign finance laws or campaign ballot laws that would apply to something of that sort. My general attitude is if they qualify, if they've got the qualifying signatures, put them on the ballot. There was not a resolution being offered. If you absolutely have to be on the ballot and they've got to go out by the 17th, the Supreme Court had to rule on this issue. And strangely, I find myself agreeing with the Republican block of the Wisconsin Elections Commission. I probably would have granted ballot access to the Greens. And I know there's lots of people pissed off at the Green Party. Oh, they're tools of the Republicans. You know what? The Green Party candidate got 34,000 votes in the state of Wisconsin last time. If they have the qualifying signatures, they should be on the ballot. And the Wisconsin Supreme Court, whether or not we like it, had to move with alacrity because that date's coming up very rapidly.
But why couldn't they have ruled almost immediately? I mean, they did it with that Evers issue. It seems that they're real.
This was still a light speed decision. I mean, really, I think it's moved very quickly. It went immediately to the Supreme Court. They ruled in record time, and ultimately, we don't have to like the decision. But I think it's perhaps the right decision to arrive at in this specific case.
But they just ruled to delay the printing of the ballots. Why couldn't they have immediately ruled
on the merits of the case? Right. And my understanding, Jack, is obviously yesterday we talked about this issue. They have requested information from the parties, and I believe in the Wisconsin Election
Some of it
Commissions.
came back in a very limited way because so many of these 72 county clerks are part-time employees. The Wisconsin Elections Commission, apparently, according to the reporting, sent out an urgent ask to county commissioners asking how many absentee ballots had already been sent without a Green Party candidate. My understanding, Dane County, I believe, had like 400,000 ballots printed. Waukesha County, I believe, number 2 with like 350,000, and then Milwaukee County. And you add those 3 counties up, and those 3 counties already have something like 1 million absentee ballots printed.
So why couldn't they just, and I guess to Jack's point, and thanks for the call, Jack, you have the information in front of you, rule on the merits of the case. And I'm with you. Generally, all things being equal, yes, ballot access should be granted. But again, the rules for getting on the ballot are very specific. And if they are not followed, they should not be on the ballot. That's what I think should be done. But what we're not even talking about is the Kanye West lawsuit, which has been filed in Brown County Circuit Court.
Yeah, that could come back.
That's not even been resolved yet. That judge says he might make a decision sometime next week. Well, these things got to get out sooner than later. Yes. Kind of messed up here in Wisconsin, per usual.
I would expect a one-pager from the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I think we will get the ruling, and I think they will say, put the Greens on the ballot. And that will be Monday. That'd be what, the 14th? Ballots have to be printed by the 17th.
And the Kanye comes back, what, on the 15th? I mean,
probably like the 16th at like 5:01 p.m. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Your phone calls always welcome here. 844-967-2789.
I think people will do what's right. They don't need a government mandate to do that.
The courts agree with us, too. What's going on in this country?
Got a naughty dog? Hi, my name is Scott, and I'm the owner of Take Paws, Madison's original pet service company. I'm a professional dog behaviorist with over 15 years field experience working with every kind of dog, big and small, and I can help you and your dog find a better balance. You can find me by Googling Take Paws Madison. That's Paws, P-A-W-S, like your pet. And I look forward to helping you and your best friend find a better balance.
Stream the Devils and Progressive News and Talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Hey folks, Jimmy K here from Hotel K Pet Sitting and Dog Walking. Hotel K is your pet's new best friend, offering dog walks, cat care visits, and professional house sitting in the greater Madison area. Our pet sitters are experienced, dependable, and offer you peace of mind while you're away. Schedule now at freebellyrubs.com. freebellyrubs.com. Hotel K Pet Sitting and Dog Walking. freebellyrubs.com.
Five Nines, your local single source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Eric Holder, he's the former U.S. Attorney General and current chair of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee.
The notion that Scott Walker is saying that we are doing something to push partisan gerrymandering, that is the pot calling the kettle total black. I mean, that's absurd. He is one of the architects of among the most gerrymandered states in the union. All we're pushing for is a fair process come 2021.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. From Wisconsin Dells to Dousman, WTTN 1580 AM is essential radio to get you through the pandemic.
Wreaking havoc on America, just like they wreaked havoc on Wisconsin. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can join us on this fine program. It's toll-free, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, do you know who is a little obsessed by and very afraid of sharks?
Your president.
Yeah, Donald Trump. Hashtag not my president. But that's not why we played the Jaws theme. And I appreciate you doing so fancy, Brian. I just want to point out the mayor in Jaws didn't want to tell anybody about the shark because he didn't want to panic people.
Well, I mean, it was the summer season. It was the high season. If people leave the beaches, then there's not going to be any business.
Do you think he hoped the shark would just magically disappear?
You know, I think that I am familiar with the fact that you are going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you on the ass.
You know, the shark swam there, that eventually it'll just swim away, like things swim away.
They do. We've got some Trump sound. He, went to Michigan, did a airplane hangar rally, and ripped on Whitmer and whatever. But let's get to some of the sound.
This was before, though. This was his presser.
Was this prior?
Yeah, this is his presser from earlier in the day, yeah.
Oh, my bad. Let's play a little of the presser sound. Donald Trump addressing the accusations, the tapes. Lordy, the tapes. Did he play it down? Did he lie to the American people? I bet he denies right here. Let's see. Cut number 10.
Why did you lie to the American people, and why should we trust what you have to say now?
Such a terrible question, and the phraseology. I didn't lie. What I said is we have to be calm. We can't be panicked.
Phraseology? That's like a crudeism.
No, I think it's real. I think it's
What's
right.
the symbology there?
The phraseology. He didn't lie. He just, wants to keep people calm. But unfortunately, you see his tweets and his emails and his other comments. I mean, anytime he's yelling full caps, he's not, giving you a sense of calm. I mean, full caps is to yell and to accentuate the point.
No, go swimming. Nothing to worry about here. The water is fine. More Donald Trump pre-Michigan rally, apparently. Cut number 11, if you would. Woodward. Well, you should have told on Trump, right?
Certainly, if he thought that was a bad statement, he would have reported it because he thinks that, you don't want to have anybody that is going to suffer medically because of some fact.
Did I forget to say please and thank you? I meant to. Please. And this time, please play cut number 12. Thank you.
I don't want to jump up and down and start screaming death, death, because that's not what it's about. We have to lead a country. We're leading a great country, and we're doing a great job.
by lying to the American people about the coronavirus pandemic. And probably if there was a great white shark swimming in the lagoon, Trump would encourage you to go swimming.
At what point do you think it's appropriate to jump up and down and yell, death, death? I mean, obviously it's not
when hundreds of thousands of people are dying.
Yes. At what point? And he knew this going in. Again, he was warned by his national security experts that this could be worse than a 1918 flu pandemic. I mean, pandemic. This
you mean
was
the pandemic
discussed.
that killed his grandfather that he claims he doesn't even... I didn't know the flu killed people.
I didn't know that. It's amazing. You even know, you hear him
Killed his own
bantering
grandfather
with Woodward in this regard. But he knew this was going to happen. And even now, even at his rally in Michigan yesterday, very few masks, zero social distancing. He's still downplaying it. I mean, if the cat's out of the bag now is the time to say, damn, 200,000 dead. We should really take this seriously.
Fancy Brian, lucky number 13, please.
People knew it was airborne. This was nothing. This was no big. When I say it was airborne, everybody knew it was airborne. This was no big thing.
No.
Certainly
your followers thought it was a hoax. They thought it was a fiction because that's how you portrayed it.
That's what you said. No worse than the flu to the American people, but 5 times worse than the flu to Bob Woodward.
Oh, that big fish out there. No worse than a carp. Might gum you.
Gonna need a bigger boat.
844
Lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eye.
844-967-2789. Pizza the Box. Welcome back. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Michael.
John, made me jump out of my seat when they were throwing that stuff over the edge. Remember?
The chum.
I was 15 at the time.
Scary stuff.
Wow. So you mean Trump was lying again?
I mean, if you believe the reporting.
20,000.
I did not lie, claims Trump. Ever.
Well, I've been reading some of this stuff on social media since I can't say anything for another 15 days or whatever. And I finally got my messenger. Yeah, my messenger's unblocked, so I can start talking to people on the side again, I guess. But I've been reading some of this stuff, and I'm telling you, man, there's no reason for me to be angry at these racist, moronic people anymore. It's just can't wait till you meet your maker, man. You know, but they want to talk about religion and stuff. I'm going to go, yeah, I can't wait to see you guys standing in line waiting to explain why you supported Trump to Jesus when you get there. Seriously? They still keep talking about how him being God sent and everything.
He is the chosen one, Michael. He is the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Michael, I got a quick story. Thank you for your call. Have a great weekend, buddy. Hey, Mike. In reference to your concern over the Trump yard signs that are everywhere these days, I had a wonderful experience today. I live in Cross Plains, and every day I take the dog to a Madison dog park. There is a farm I go past every day on our route that has 3 yard signs and a Trump flag on a pole in the front yard. They have been up since July. Today, they're all gone. I laughed loud enough to frighten my dog. Gene tells me, wonderful story. The Trump signs. Why do you think they would have taken them down this week, Dan? Was it the suckers and the losers?
Or the line about the disease?
I think it was the shark. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Happy Friday.
Your diary must look odd. Get up in the morning, death, lunch.
If I were to guess, I have one name in mind.
I'm an expert in nameology.
From the Capitol in Madison, this is Wiz Politics Midday.
I'm Stephanie Hoff, your host, and this podcast is brought to you by Spectrum. UW-Madison has temporarily returned to all online classes, and this is an attempt to mitigate the rising COVID-19 cases among students. On the line with me today is Royce Pedezwa, who has been our primary reporter on what's going on in higher education during a global pandemic. To start off, Royce, what's the status on the outbreaks that has led Chancellor Rebecca Blank to move to online instruction? instruction.
Yeah, Stephanie. So basically, outbreaks have been on the rise. The latest coronavirus dashboard numbers from the university show there have been 1,044 students who have tested positive since August 24th. Cases haven't changed too much. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi even wrote a letter yesterday to Chancellor Rebecca Blank asking them to send all of the undergraduate students home from student housing. He blamed the vast majority of the recent cases in the county stemming from the university. Yesterday's announcement does not send students home, but instead switches classes online. Classes for today and tomorrow have been canceled and will resume again online on Monday all the way through September 25th.
Moving to a virtual format was just one of Blank's solutions. She also placed a curfew on 2 of 21 dormitories. What motivated that decision?
There have been links to outbreaks in those dorms specifically, and so this was just an effort to try and get the cases under control. The announcement came last night around 8 p.m., and it said that it would go in place starting at 10 p.m., that students would have to stay in place in those dorms. And then also everybody who lived in the dorms that has not been tested this week yet would have to be tested either today or tomorrow. Chancellor Blank, she, in her statement, urged the students who are not following the COVID guidelines for social distancing to consider their actions more. She said that what students do has the possibility to, ripple through the entire community.
And have we seen anything like this happening at other campus? Has the UW system president, Tommy Thompson, reacted to this at all?
I'll start with Tommy Thompson. He issued a statement saying that he fully supported Blank's decision to make the move online. He compared it to similar actions done at other universities throughout the country. And he also said that, this was not essentially a surprise given the rise in cases, and that because of the rigorous testing efforts at campuses, that this would partially should have been expected. That said, he also did say that the other 12 universities in the UW system have so far not made decisions to go online and are operating, quote, as expected. That said, the Janesville Gazette last night reported that the UW Whitewater chancellor at a city council meeting said that his campus was not very far behind Madison's campus as far as rising cases and the possibility of needing to go online. I haven't heard from the universities themselves yet, but I have been speaking with union members and professors on multiple different campuses. It seems like not many people are very confident that the universities will be able to stay partially in person, that they'll have to go fully online.
Thanks, Royce, for the update. The anecdotal response from students has been primarily through a UW-Madison student meme Facebook page of over 28,000 members. It has students reminding each other to request tuition refunds, chiding the chancellor for not opening completely online to begin with, and blaming bar crowds versus dorms for the virus's spread. Until tomorrow, I'm Stephanie Hoff. Thanks for tuning in.
This has been Wiz Politics Midday. For more state government and political news, visit wizpolitics.com.
Stay informed with progressive news and talk on WTTN 1580 AM, Wisconsin's home for Devil Radio.
Oh, yeah! The Devil's Advocates. Radio for nasty women everywhere.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Happy Friday, Heidi. I'm surprised you didn't
I almost
steal
did.
my thunder once again.
I almost did.
As fate would have it, the pandemic has frozen time, and Buck Cherry is the last concert I attended in person.
Really?
I went to a Buck Cherry concert last summer.
I like Buck Cherry, man. They put on a good show.
Well, they had the two or so famous songs. This one, Lit Up. I love the cocaine. And she's a crazy bitch, but she looks so good I'm on top of it. I went to that concert with my wife and father-in-law.
Wow.
And her cousin and her cousin's children. And I believe a fine time was had by all at the Buck Cherry concert. Perhaps the last public event I will ever go to.
Come on. We'll get a vaccine. It's all going to be fine. It's all going to go away, perhaps even before the election.
I hope I can go trick-or-treating. 844-967-2789. We got more Trump sound. I hate to do it to everyone. No treats, just tricks here. Let's do a little more. Fancy Brian, if you'd be so kind, play cut number 18. Trump claims we're rounding the corner.
What?
And I really do believe we're rounding the corner, and the vaccines are right there. But not even discussing vaccines and not discussing therapeutics, we're rounding the corner.
You know, obviously the man has zero credibility when on February 26th, he said we had 15 cases. Pretty soon we're going to be down to 5 and down to 0. It's a pretty good job we've done.
Top of the hill.com. Fauci disagrees with Trump. The U.S. is rounding the final turn on pandemic. You know, that's the one I pointed out to unfortunate Dave from Mequon. Unfortunate in that, you know, we've been missing Dave. And that's unfortunate.
Here's what Fauci specifically stated. I have to disagree with that. That comment you just heard, that we're rounding the corners. I have to disagree with that, said Fauci, because if you look at the statistics, they are disturbing. We're plateauing at around 40,000 cases a day, and the deaths are around 1,000. That's a day. Fauci said he hopes that there is not a post-Labor Day surge of cases like there was following Memorial Day and July 4th because the country's infection rate is already too high. Again, another quote. When you have a baseline of infections that are 40,000 a day and you have threats of increased test positivity in certain regions, what we don't want to see is going into the fall season, you don't want to start off already with a baseline that's so high. And one more quote. When asked about the largely maskless crowd at Trump's outdoor rally in Michigan on Thursday night, Fauci noted that just because an event is outside doesn't make it safe. If you're outdoors and you're crowding together and you don't have a mask, the chances of respiratory transmission of a virus clearly are there. Just because you're outdoors doesn't mean you're protected, particularly if you're in a crowd and you're not wearing masks.
Let's play more Trump. I was reading ahead.
Anything else?
Oh, a little bit more. Trump on the coronavirus. Cut number 19. You know, the children, well, they're just fine.
0.2% of the coronavirus deaths have occurred in those under the age of 25, and most had underlying conditions where there was a problem.
So I guess that's only a tragedy if it's your kid.
Well, it's only 400. 0.2% of 200,000 is 400 kids. Now, it's a better number, I guess. It rolls off the tongue a little better when you say, well, only 0.2%.
Of 200,000 American dead.
So we're only talking about 400 people have died. I mean, you know, it's only 400 people, Curdy. And they all had underlying conditions. And I got to wonder, you know, today being 9/11 and all, how many of those people that were killed in 9/11 had underlying pre-existing conditions? Probably a big percentage of them.
Well, Dominic, you don't understand. According to Donald Trump, Joe Biden wants to sacrifice American lives.
Oh, Joe does.
If you would, Fancy Brian, play cut 20.
Joe is willing to sacrifice American lives to placate the radical left, open border extremists. And we saved tens of thousands of lives, probably hundreds of thousands of lives. And we saved millions of lives by doing the closing and now the opening. The way we did it.
Billions and billions and billions of lives.
Gajillions of lives.
Many, many, many lives.
Well, he saved all of humanity because he hasn't yet blown up the world, Dom.
Well, everyone that's still alive, and the day is not yet over.
Don't keep reminding me. More of Donald Trump on the coronavirus. You know, he doesn't want to be an anti-vaxxer. Cut 21.
You don't want to have anything having to do with the political purposes, being an anti-vaxxer. You don't want to be talking about the vaccines in a negative way, especially when you see the statistics that we're starting to see. They're incredible, actually.
Would he perhaps be playing down the side effect risks, perhaps not trying to cause a panic in the vaccine, which he is the one that's trying to rush to market. He is the one that's trying to influence the FDA. See the convalescent plasma treatment.
He just wants to, you know, make sure that everyone's, you know, under control. We have to do this calmly.
Well, Dominic, according to Donald Trump, Joe Biden, not only is he wanting to sacrifice American lives, probably on some sort of, QAnon throne somewhere, Aztec style.
Children, and then they eat them and collect their blood and go to Mars.
But Biden also has launched a campaign against vaccines, according to Trump. Cut 22.
Biden's launched a public campaign against the vaccine, which is so bad.
I missed that.
Because we have some vaccines coming that are incredible.
You have launched a public campaign against masks and science and the American people.
Yeah, he's just, we can't
Let me
jump
tell you
up
what
and down.
Joe did.
Death. We got to lead. We got to be strong.
One more from Trump. 23, if you would. I'll let you just listen to it.
Biden's perfectly happy to endanger the lives of other people by doing something that he thinks is going to help him politically because his polls are getting very bad. They're getting very shaky.
Unlike Donald Trump, who only has the American people in mind. And that's why he lied to us, because he didn't want us to panic or know the truth. But he's just fine with panicking the American people. It's the favorite tool in the Trump toolbox. All he does is try to panic the American people. Let me tell you what Joe Biden's trying to do. He's got a campaign against vaccines. He wants to sacrifice American lives.
Sounds like he's trying to instill a panic.
Antifa.
The suburbs.
Friendly protesters are coming to your house right now. Don't panic.
No. We must remain calm. All is well.
He's a cheerleader.
He is a cheerleader. Well, and again, obviously, the perception of strength, which it takes true strength for a country to come together and work together to stop something like this. And we are not strong in this regard. And we are led by a weak administration who thinks that projecting strength while not actually having strength is in fact strength. And that, of course, and this is Donald Trump throughout his entire career. I mean, he's just a BS artist, right? If he comes on strong, we'll just throw a lawsuit at him, see what happens. I'm strong and wrong. Well, that's not strength. That's not what this country needs. And 200,000 dead is evidence of that.
Well, as long as you've got the Department of Justice to step in for you in a civil litigation suit where you're being sued for defamation with an underlying charge of rape, well, you can say whatever you want because the U.S. government's just going to step in for Citizen Trump uniquely, because very presidential to say, I never raped that woman. She's not good enough looking for me to rape.
Not my type. Is that what he said? Was that
something of that effect? That was his defense. Jumping forward, Trump, he arrived in Michigan, held a little maskless, non-socially distanced rally. I want to share a little of the Michigan sound as well. It makes a couple of bold statements there. Not this one, just a greeting. Cut number 35. Hello, Michigan.
Hello, Michigan, and I'm thrilled to be in Freeland with thousands of loyal, hardworking American patriots.
Loyal.
Not wearing masks.
Thousands of loyal. See, that's the very key word. Most important to Donald Trump, loyalty.
Now, here's a big old fat whopper Trump likes to tell, and he told it again in Michigan. But for Dave from Mequon, and maybe even Gary if he's listening, I would ask for any proof, any veracity behind this statement made by Donald Trump, cut number 36.
We brought you a lot of car plants, Michigan. We brought you a lot of car plants. You know that.
Where are they? Seems like they'd have a big footprint. You might be able to find those car plants. There are no new car plants in Michigan since Trump has become the president.
If I'm elected, you won't lose one plant. You'll have plants coming into this country. You're going to have jobs again. You won't lose one plant. I promise you.
The Washington Post reports on this issue. According to their database of Trump's false and misleading claims, the president has mentioned Michigan in 120 false claims, Ohio in 94, North Carolina in 68 claims, South Carolina, not a swing state, but it may have a competitive Senate race, so that's why he's going there. The facts from the Washington Post. Essentially, Trump says under his watch, auto assembly plants have been added at an unprecedented rate in Michigan, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, and possibly other states. Another quote, they're being built all over and expanded at a level we've never seen before. He attributes this to his jawboning of countries such as Japan and Germany and his threat of higher tariffs. So we checked with the expert at the Center for Automotive Research, a group that tracks this information. Not surprised, they're making it up. The vice president of that organization said there have been 5 new auto assembly plants announced since Trump took office, 3 in Michigan, 1 in Alabama, and 1 in Texas. And here are the details. Navaya, a French company, announced in 2017. This is the company's first North American production facility, which will roll out 25 of its driverless Arma shuttles by the end of the year. Kits will be brought from France initially, but is under contract with U.S. suppliers. Toyota, a Japanese company.
That would create
50 jobs. Toyota announced a joint venture with Mazda in 2017. Toyota has abandoned plans to build Corolla sedans at a joint assembly plant it is building in cooperation with Mazda in Huntsville, Alabama, and instead will build as yet unannounced crossover there, and that's going to be apparently 4,000 jobs.
Alabama better because it's unionless.
Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, an Italian-American multinational, announced in 2018. FCA plans to convert the Mack Avenue engine factory in Detroit to an assembly plant for next-generation Jeep Grand Cherokee and a large SUV, 3,850 jobs. Waymo, a U.S. company as a subsidiary of Alphabet Inc., announced in 2019 that plans to bring a factory to Michigan, creating 400 jobs, and was described as the world's first 100% dedicated to the mass production of autonomous vehicles. The company plans to spend about $13 million to retrofit a yet-to-be-determined manufacturing facility, and Tesla announced in 2020 to build Cybertrucks near Austin. Note that only 2 are completely foreign-owned companies, with one company mostly relying on overseas suppliers. There are no new plants in Ohio, North Carolina, or South Carolina. Mercedes-Benz and Volvo both opened plants in South Carolina in 2018, but the projects broke ground in 2015 before Trump was elected, so that doesn't count. In total, there were over $64 billion in automotive manufacturing investments announcements in the United States between 2013 and 2016 versus $40 billion in 2017 to 2020. 64 billion versus 40 billion under Trump. Unprecedented, says the president.
So I was a little bit wrong. There are some in the works. That's like an incomplete, right? Daniel Simpson Day 0.0. All classes incomplete.
A work in process.
Come back with us. Kind of like Foxconn, right?
Yeah, it's still going.
The eighth wonder of the world. Wonder if they'll ever build it. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, more of you on the phones as well. It's Friday. We air grievances. You got any? 844-967-2789.
If I'm elected, you won't lose one plant. You'll have plants coming into this country. You're going to have jobs again. You won't lose one plant. I promise you. Michigan gave us Motang.
I'm an expert in namiology.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Hi, this is Cody with Go Landscaping. We do full yard installs, retaining walls, and certified dry stone masonry. Let us turn your dream for an outdoor living space into a reality. Go Landscaping is still taking on new commercial and residential lawn care for this summer, or let us bid your snow removal for fall. Find us at golandscapings.com. Again, that's golandscapings.com.
Stream the Devils and Progressive News and Talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
The Lazy Oaf Lounge is Madison's East Side place for friends and family. The Lazy Oaf is now open for dine-in and carry-out. Check out the new menu with awesome apps, burgers done to perfection, stone hearth fired pizzas, and Friday fish fry. And live music on the patio Thursday and Saturday evenings. Like the Lazy Oaf Lounge on Facebook and see the full menu at lazyoaflounge.com. The Lazy Oaf Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road, Madison.
Madison, tune in every weekday from 11 to 2 on Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM for the Tom Hartman program. Join the show's conversation because our democracy is not a spectator sport. Listen live right here on Devil Radio.
The Devil's Advocates.
There are lots of people that haven't made up their mind on this race, and you think, how could that be? No, there are. There are a lot of people that could still make a decision all the way on election day down.
Undecided voters are the biggest idiots on the planet. Try giving short, simple answers.
Like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Yosemites.
Because freedom.
Stay informed with progressive news and talk on Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. Wanakee's choice for essential radio.
Wreaking havoc on America, just like they wreaked havoc on Wisconsin. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
To the violence of the sun.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. In case you missed it, Donald Trump accusing Joe Biden of using drugs.
There's all the magical colors.
844-967-2789.
Dominic, I hate to monopolize the airwaves. Let's allow the audience to play along. Once again, that phone number, 844-967-2789. Be like Dick from Madison. Join the Devil's Advocates. You'll be glad you did. I hope you are, Dick. Welcome.
Hey, Dick.
Hey, guys. Happy weekend. Hey, a quick shout out to Steve Holmgren, as Tommy Thompson used to call him. Remember that when he was all drunk?
Yeah, it was a little cold that day. That's what it was.
This Green Bay Packer Day in the state of Wisconsin.
The state of Wisconsin. Yeah. That was special. No, but Dr. Winston Trump out there again today peddling whatever he peddles. But another thing, why don't they go, like I told you a couple of weeks ago when he was here, why don't they go to Racine and accentuate the positive? Foxconn. Come on, man. That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
They got a huge empty building there, Dick. They could all socially distance apart with the press and show off the eighth wonder of the world. I mean, it makes total sense. I just don't understand why they wouldn't engage.
Another quick thing. How long do you think Pence will have to shine his shoes for giving former Vice President, I hope our next president, Biden, an elbow bump today when they ran into each other during those ceremonies?
Oh, I did not witness that, Dick. Do tell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a 9/11 thing.
In Shanksville, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, and actually Pence and Biden did the elbow bump and exchanged a couple of words, and they both were wearing masks. So you know he's in trouble for that.
Yeah, what is Trump? I'm sorry, what is a Pence doing wearing a mask, Dick? Is he trying to freak people out and instill some panic? I mean, what is he trying to do?
I guess because he hasn't answered to Churchill yet as to how you're supposed to handle this.
Well,
that was really
maybe
really
some
special,
FDR, too. Dick. I mean, you got to pick all your great ones, right?
Yeah.
Trump's right up there with him, isn't he?
Oh, in my mind, absolutely.
Appreciate the call, Dick.
Thanks for playing along, man.
844-967-2789. A little bit more from Donald Trump in Michigan. If you'd be so kind, Fancy Brian, play cut number 37.
If Biden wins, the mob wins. If Biden wins, the rioters, anarchists, arsonists, and flag burners win.
I mean, wow, he's really trying to keep people calm, isn't he?
Well, here's another one. He'll keep you calm. He'll make it up. He'll promise you damn near anything. If you would, Fancy Brian, play along. Cut number 38.
Before the end of the year, we will have a safe and effective vaccine, and we will defeat the China virus. I have a feeling, by the way, I think the vaccine's going to come very soon.
Very soon.
Very soon.
Can you bank on a Donald Trump feeling? I mean, he had a feeling about Trump planes, Trump steaks, Trump water, 3 casinos in Atlantic City. He's had a lot of good feelings that didn't work out. And I know some about stuff not working out.
Yeah.
And Trump's had a lot of stuff not go his way.
Well, I love the sense of, again, Donald Trump saying he did not warn the American people as he warned and discussed the coronavirus with Bob Woodward because he doesn't want to instill panic. But if Biden wins, he says to Michigan, anarchists, all this craziness going to come out hell. Antifa might be your neighbor. Here, I thought it was just my grandfather. Play cut 39, if you would, please, Brian.
Does anybody want to have somebody from Antifa as a member and as a resident of your suburb? I don't think so too much.
Yeah, we want fascists. Trump, you're our man.
Oh, didn't you hear, Dom? He's a peacemaker. Hell, he might go down as the most famous peacemaker of 2020. He's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And unlike the prior 2 times where his nomination was fraudulent, and I don't even know what that means, but police investigated prior fraudulent nominations that Donald Trump had claimed had been made on his behalf. Well, this year for surezies, Greta Thunberg, one of his competitors. Oh, that'd really sting if she won it. If you would, Fancy Brian, cut number 41.
I don't say this out of ego, but I was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
As long as he didn't do it out of ego. One more Trump tapes. They wanted me to scream. Cut 42.
This whack job that wrote the book, he said, well,
Woodward.
Trump knew a little bit. They wanted me to come out and scream. People are dying. We're dying. No. We did it just the right way. We have to be calm.
Trump lied. People died. 200,000 of them.
The right way. That's the right way.
I mean, that's 50,000 Benghazis. 50,000 Benghazis.
844-967-2789. Let's squeeze one caller in before the top of the hour. Rapper DJ T from Madison, you are up. Happy Friday. What do you got for us?
Yeah, hi, guys. I just wanted to say I love Devil Radio. It's beautiful. It's terrific.
You have
Even
excellent
bigly.
taste, rapper DJ T.
Thank you.
It's even very bigly, I'd say. But I got a little rhyme for you guys. My name is Donnie Trump, and I'm here to say, vote for me because I'm going to save the day. I'm the greatest president, there is no doubt. If you're riding with Biden, it's time to dismount.
Man, with rhymes like that, you should join the Motang Posse.
That's old school. I'm going to old school.
Oh, dropping a funky ass bass line. Rapper DJ T.
The album's coming out in a couple weeks. Some of the other cuts are Stable Genius, Best Words, Space Force, Fake News, I Am the Chosen One, Huge, China, 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 and I Love Fauci.
Rapper
So
DJ T,
it's going to be called the October Surprise.
Rapper DJ T, you put a smile on our face.
That's
we always
awesome,
appreciate that. Come back with us, the happy hour. We'll put a smile on everybody's face. A fine guest, Abby Lowery, candidate for Wisconsin Assembly District 37. Then Mark Waldon, candidate for Wisconsin 8050. Lenny Mattioli, he's crazy. He'll get crazy up in here in the happy hour, I suspect. Come back with us. You're not going to want to miss a minute of the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Friday. If you leave, we got a grievance.
If Biden wins, the mob wins. If Biden wins, the rioters, anarchists, arsonists, and flag burners win.
I don't want to create a panic.
Ahoy!
For voters with a disability, exercising the right to vote can be a difficult task, but during a pandemic, it can be nearly impossible. The Wisconsin Disability Vote Coalition encourages you to check your voter registration online and request an absentee ballot for the November general election at myvote.wi.gov. Questions about your registration or requesting an absentee ballot? Call 1-800-DIS-VOTE. That's 1-800-DIS-VOTE or go to disabilityvote.org.
Make your plan to vote today.
This message brought to you in part by the Wisconsin Disability Vote Coalition.
MaxSync Radio, this is Rocker. Hey, Jimmy, Operation Double Dip Distraction is a go. Vladdy just needs the bread right away. Did Agent Orange give you the check in Oshkosh? He said it was in the mail. Oh, no!
Did the president really tell Jimmy the check was in the mail? Tune in Saturday and Sunday, 6 to 9 for local music, interviews, and more. It's MaxSync Radio with Jimmy K and Rocker.
He said it was express mail.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus and W224EG 92.7 FM Madison. Always streaming at Talk927FM.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Those who lost loved ones on 9/11 are remembering them on the 19th anniversary of the attacks. The AP's Sagar Magani has the story.
It's been 19 years.
It wouldn't have mattered if it's been 30 years.
Jin Hee Cho says she will never get over losing her kid sister in the World Trade Center.
Looney's always fresh.
In Shanksville, Pennsylvania, President Trump remembered the 40 passengers on Flight 93 who forced the hijackers to crash the plane in a field.
Died as true heroes.
In all, nearly 3,000 Americans died that day. And at the Pentagon, Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley vowed to never forget.
The sons and the daughters, the brothers, the sisters, the mothers, the fathers, who gave their tomorrows for our todays. Honor them.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
In Oregon, Governor Kate Brown is trying to contain wildfires.
Well over 1 million acres of land has burned.
About 500,000 people in Oregon are being told to evacuate, 10% of the population. Fires are burning in Washington and Gavin Newsom's state, California.
We're in the midst of a climate crisis.
At least 10 people have died near a fire in the Sierra Nevada. 16 others are missing.
This smash mouth reality, this perfect storm. The debate is over around climate change. Just come to the state of California.
29 major wildfires are burning in California from the Oregon border to just north of Mexico. Prosecutors in Minnesota want one trial for the 4 police officers facing charges in the death of George Floyd. Family attorney Benjamin Crump says the defense is trying to claim Floyd died of a drug overdose.
The only overdose that killed George Floyd was an overdose of excessive force and racism.
The Dow finished up 131 points. This is AP News.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
Back to work at that job, the one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is Tony with Quality CBD. We are located on Willie Street across from the co-op. At Quality CBD, we are vertically integrated. From soil to oil and seed to sale, we grow, extract, manufacture, and distribute quality CBD oil. We also have contact-free delivery options at qualitycbd.org. Quality CBD. Legal, local, legit.
I'm Rocker, and this is my vodka. Rocker Vodka, made right here in Madison, Wisconsin. Enjoy Rocker cocktails at the Dark Horse by Sal's on East Washington every Saturday on the patio from 2 to 5 p.m. It's extended happy hour with live music. Find Rocker Vodka and Rocker Rye Whiskey at Steve's Liquor, Woodman's Total Wine, Vic Pierce, Festival Foods, and more. For more information, visit rockervodka.com.
Stream the Devils and Progressive News and Talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Santita Jackson of the Santita Jackson Show. Every Friday morning at 7 o'clock, let's fix our society by fixing ourselves with the Love Doc, Dr. Brenda Wade on the Santita Jackson Show on 92.7 FM.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Yesterday, the Trump campaign announced it will be back in Wisconsin next week with events scheduled for both Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Vice President Pence will visit Janesville on Monday, and President Trump will be visiting Mosineen on Friday evening. This will be the president's third and vice president's fourth visits to Wisconsin this year, noting how the campaign views Wisconsin in his re-election efforts. Forecast for today in Dane County is cloudy with a chance of rain throughout the evening. High today of 62 degrees. Currently, it is 53 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We are sliding into the 4 o'clock happy hour. And Dominic, I know Friday happy hours always make you happy. You know it. You will be happy to know we're joined right now live from the top by a fine guest. At least we hope she is. Her name, Abby Lowery. She is a candidate for Wisconsin's 37th Assembly District 37. Welcome, Abby Lowery.
Hi, thank you so much. I'll do my best to be fun.
Thank you, Abby.
We hold you to high expectations. Abby, I've heard lots of good things about you, specifically from a mutual friend, a very good Dem, Scott Mikulak. He said, you know, this one you should pay attention to as a candidate. Not your first run at politics. You are a village trustee in DeForest. Tell us about the current gig.
Oh, yes. I have been serving on the DeForest Village Board for over 3 years now. It's been I've really enjoyed it. I got motivated to run, 3 years ago after the 2016 presidential election. Before that, I kind of knew I wanted to get involved in local government, and then saw the reality of our current politics and thought, nope, I need to just do it now. It might not be the perfect time, but we've got some terrible people trying to represent us or currently representing us. And if a reality TV show host can be president, I can certainly be village trustee.
Right.
Abby, what lessons have you learned from the current position? How do you govern in DeForest, and has it been a good process?
Yes, I have really enjoyed it. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned and I will take forward with me if I am fortunate enough to be elected to the state assembly is how important it is to listen to the people you represent and take action on their behalf. It sounds so basic, so obvious. It almost, it almost seems like you shouldn't even mention it, but we are seeing with our current elected officials at basically all levels of government, that is not happening. And what I really enjoyed about running for village board the first time is I talked to so many people, knocked on over 1,000 doors, talking to people. And I thought at the time, oh, this is just to sway people to vote for me. And as I realized, as I was talking to people about issues, it's very good, critical information to be a good elected official, to make good decisions, to make votes in the benefit of the people.
Abby, define the 37th district broadly for the listening audience. For those unfamiliar, we know you apparently currently serve in DeForest. What other areas would you serve if you successfully win a seat in the Wisconsin Assembly District 37?
Yeah, so the district starts, going west to east. West is DeForest, where I live, and that includes a part of Windsor, and then also just north of Sun Prairie, Bristol, and York, and then Waterloo, Columbus, Watertown, and various small towns and villages in the southern third of Dodge County. So basically it covers parts of 4 different counties.
Well, sister, they're hearing you there. That is right in the heart of our coverage area. Your fall opponent, a highly qualified man in that he served as a talk radio host prior. You're chasing the dragon that is John Jagler. Why did you decide to run against John?
Oh, I appreciate you asking that. So many reasons, but when I boil it down to it, is he is not responsive to the people. And I think it's very important, it's critical, as I stated earlier, that an elected official listens to people in their district and takes action on their behalf. And so basically, a few years ago in my family, there was a really personal issue happening with my family. And we were having related to my brother who has autism and lives in a group home in the state. And I was not having any luck, reaching out to bureaucracy, the people that were supposed to be fighting for him. And I contacted my state representative. I thought, he's got a daughter with special needs. He should definitely want to help me, despite being part of 2 different political parties. And he actually didn't have interest in taking action, didn't look into the issue further. And I just remember how voiceless and powerless I felt, even with, the resources and time I had as a stay-at-home parent pre-COVID-19. And I just remember thinking, if it's this hard for us, what is it like for people who have fewer resources and less time and working 2 or 3 jobs, and they're trying to reach out to their legislator to take action on something very important to their family? And it's mind-boggling, and it shouldn't be like that. And that's why I'm running, because I want people to come to me, and I will take action. I will listen, and I want to fight for them.
Abby, I understand you used to be a special ed teacher. Obviously, you don't go into state level politics to become a rich person, nor special ed teachering. But let me ask you, anything from that prior career that has helped to shape your candidacy going forward?
Yes, a couple of things. As a special ed teacher, you are in charge of a legal document and called an IEP, Individual Education Plan. And you're in charge of writing it, overseeing the process of it, getting people's input. So I am very familiar with, how to lead meetings, get different people's input, different stakeholders' input, and making sure that the final product is the best case scenario, the best that we can provide for, in that case, a student. And also that it's a legal document, that certain language that needs to be in there, certain protections for the student and the family are in there. So I would say out of that process, I'm already, familiar with the legal process, and also how to advocate for families, especially families with special needs, of course.
Abby, I have a special needs son. He has an IEP, and I would say currently my own interpretation is even in the very well-funded school district where I'm at, the state resources, the state aid, insufficient. Abby, John Jagler has been part of voting to divert state aid off to choice schools. And obviously the state of Wisconsin's not funding the school districts in the same percentages they used to. Is education one of your front and center issues? And if elected, how will you advocate on behalf of Wisconsin students?
Oh, yes, it is definitely one of my top issues. And that's because I saw what it was like as a special ed teacher. You know, my first year teaching was actually during Act 10. And then the following year, the big cuts to state aid that we haven't fully come back from. And then on top of that, the voucher expansion that has been happening because of definitely my opponent has been part of that. And I've definitely seen the effects on the students with special needs, lack of resources, teachers expected to do more with less. And also seeing because of that, you know, decreased state aid and not fully coming back from that, such huge pressure on local school districts that have to make up the difference, because as I said, that's a legal document and you have to fulfill, and you should obviously want to fulfill the requirements of the IEP in the best interest of the student. But that's just too much for local school districts. The state and the federal government, but I can only do something about the state government if I'm elected, should definitely pay their fair share to alleviate the burden on local school districts, and all students will benefit. Because, you know, if we're paying less for special education, there'll be more money in general for all students in the school districts. And it'll also be more equitable, too.
Folks, you are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Abby Lowery, a candidate for Wisconsin's Assembly District number 37, joins us on the phone. Abby, a pleasure to meet you. Regarding teaching and, you know, in times of the pandemic, Abby, I want to get your sense of how you think the Republicans and the Democrats and this administration here in Wisconsin have reacted to opening schools. Do you think it's been proper? Do you think we're doing the right things? Do we need to do more? Where do you stand on the current status of opening schools for during this pandemic?
Well, I definitely think it should be a local decision, because as we look at, you know, the positive cases throughout the state, there's certainly pockets of the state that are affected more. And local school districts kind of know what's best for their students and are accountable to the local community. So if they're not making the right decision, you know, the local community will let them know, especially at election time with the school board members. And also, I do support, like in DeForest, we are currently, the whole school district is on virtual instruction. And I'm not saying it's easy or that, you know, that's what, not that it's like the best case scenario for students in terms of learning, but it's what's needed now based on positive cases. And I think my opponent and other Republicans in the state legislature certainly have not been helping or taking action. They haven't done anything in the state legislature or bringing bills forward for almost 5 months now. And my opponent has also signed on to a letter to various school superintendents throughout the state. DeForest School District Superintendent was included on that list, basically pressuring them to have in-person instruction and not providing resources for them to do so safely. And if I'm elected, and if school districts start going that way and COVID-19 is still a concern, I want to be a resource and support for those school districts and not just say, you're on your own, you need to open up and just figure it out. I need to be a partner with them.
Abby, one last question, 45 seconds. Do you agree with the legalization, regulation, and taxation of recreational cannabis in the state of Wisconsin?
Well, I thank you for that question. I've been definitely learning a lot on that. And I definitely think that we should regulate marijuana as we do alcohol for, adults 21 and older. Medical marijuana should be available to those who need it, with certain medical conditions or health issues. and recreational should definitely be treated similar to alcohol.
Abby, we're putting you down for a yes. Sorry to interrupt. Please give them your website so people can support your campaign quickly.
LoweryForWisconsin.com, the LOWERYFORWI.com.
Thank you, Abby Lowery. Mark Waldon's next. Come back, more Devils.
Once a client has a personal injury and they contact us, we sit down with them as early as possible to ascertain not only how the injury happened and all the facts of the accident, but also how the injury is going to affect their life in the long run.
The attorneys at Lawton and Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
It's Oktoberfest at Full Mile Beer Company and Kitchen, Saturday, September 19th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Drive through or walk up to get your 32-ounce trawlers of Full Mile beer and classic German fare. Order at our tent behind Full Mile and we'll deliver to you without having to leave your car. And help Full Mile Beer Company raise money for the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. It's a drive-through or walk-up Oktoberfest, Saturday, September 19th at the Full Mile Beer Company and Kitchen, downtown Sun Prairie, and online at fullmilebeercompany.com.
So, Darcy, it's too bad we can only meet during 30-second commercials because I have some follow-up questions for you.
Sure, Dom. I'll give you 20 seconds.
Well, you say, don't call the sign to see the property with that agent, or you're not free to write an offer for me. But why? And why is it your services would be free?
Those are excellent questions, Dom. Just not for a radio ad. Just go to our website
at solidarityrealty.com
and click on the orange button on the homepage that says, why not just call the sign?
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, and they're honest. And you won't be limited to 30 seconds. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. All right, what does your church tell you about when people say that they're the second coming of God? My reason tells me the man is certifiable. I want your opinion, Gary.
I would say anybody who comes back and says that, I would say you'd be the Antichrist.
I am the chosen one.
So Trump is the Antichrist, then, Gary, by that logic?
I'm not saying he is, but
But he said he's the chosen one.
I am the chosen one.
Gary, by your biblical logic, Donald Trump is the Antichrist.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Taking on Righty Whitey Talk Radio on both sides of the dial from McFarland to Wanakee, Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
For God's sake, give more power to the people. There's some people up there hogging everything. Telling lies, giving out advice about the people's money and things. And if they're gone away.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. If you missed any of this fine program, please go online to domandcroot.com. You can listen to and download podcasts and interviews.
Dominic, want to thank our last fine guest, Abby Lowery, candidate for Wisconsin Assembly District 37. She's facing off against John Jagler. I hope she beats him.
Me too.
We got another fine guest. We know Mark Waldon, not his first rodeo with the Devil's Advocates. Mark Waldon, a candidate for Wisconsin's 50th Assembly District. That's up by the Reedsburg area. Mark, welcome to the Devil's Advocates radio show.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Good, Mark. Thank you.
Well, Mark, you should be excellent. We gave you the vaunted 420 guest slot. Mark, before we talk about your political aspirations, you're a cannabis enthusiast. You work in the industry, or at least you hope to, or tell the audience about it, Mark.
So I spent about 17 years in Denver, Colorado started out as a lighting manufacturer's rep, and I was fortunate enough to get involved in LED lighting as it entered the residential and commercial markets here in the States. And as cannabis became legal in Colorado, I started getting a lot of calls on energy efficiency consultation for the medicinal growers. So I spent a lot of time doing energy efficiency consultation, and I kind of came up with a horticultural lighting system that would boost production indoors for some of the medicinal growers. So I patented that item, and I actually launched that business in January, but thanks to COVID, I've been kind of on hold with it until things lighten up.
Well, let's hope they lighten up. Mark, you are a small business owner in downtown Reedsburg. You've got the lighting shop in downtown Reedsburg. Sir, how does your experience as a small business owner affect your desire to go run for political office?
I think really my desire stems from the fact, as Abby pointed out, that in my opinion, the problems that we face in this country with the division and everything else are, in my opinion, based on the fact that we don't have any representatives that are standing up for the people anymore. So there was that Princeton study back out in the day that pretty much said we're no longer a representative democracy. And I think it's reflected in how our representatives act when it comes to passing legislation. So that's really my motivation. It really had nothing to do with my small business, but it really has more to do with the fact that my opponent is just kind of a party line guy, and he doesn't care to talk to people of a different political persuasion, and he pushes the party line, because what Robin Voss tells him to.
Well, Mark, you've got a relatively inexperienced opponent, although he is the incumbent, the Republican. Who are you going against, and why are you a better candidate?
I'm going against Tony Kurtz. He was, if I remember correctly, he was a Ron Johnson staffer for a period of time. And after our the incumbent, Ed Brooks, decided not to run, again, they kind of put Tony Kurtz in his place. So this is a heavily gerrymandered district, and I know I have an uphill fight. That's why Tony Kurtz was able to win as easily as he did, without anybody knowing him. But my motivation is that I think, my overlying theme of my campaign is about representative democracy and restoring it. Not only, it needs to be restored nationally, but in the states, we can't have a politician or a representative get into office and then ignore the will of the people. That's not what the Constitution is all about.
Mark, what other singular or personal advocacies would you bring with you if you successfully win the Wisconsin 50th Assembly seat? What's going to be your first avocation, sir?
I think we need to expand Badger Care. I think we need to take the $1.6 billion that Wisconsin taxpayers have paid into the federal government and expand Badger Care. And in particular, considering what's going on with COVID, we've got a lot of small farmers and small business owners, people that are not making a lot of money, people that have lost their jobs and can't afford the most expensive healthcare in the world. And we need to make sure that our people are covered. I think it's the patriotic thing to do.
Mark, what about COVID? What is the government's role in COVID? We see continuous court rulings that stay safer at home orders, tell the schools in Dane County they can reopen over the better judgment of health authorities. Mark, where do you stand on this whole COVID issue, wearing masks, staying home, etc.?
I stand with our governor. I think Governor Evers took the right steps to try and mitigate the issues that we face with this pandemic as a state. And I think it's kind of appalling that our Republican counterparts have kind of turned this into a political issue as opposed to what it really is. And it's a public safety issue that we should be handling in a much more appropriate way than we have.
Mark Waldon, candidate for Wisconsin's Assembly District number 50. I think I know the answer to this question, Mark, but I'm going to ask you to put it on the record. Do you support the legalization, regulation, and taxation of recreational cannabis in the state of Wisconsin?
I do completely, both. I think when, as a agricultural state, when we're surrounded by other states that have either medicinal or recreational cannabis and how many 30 plus states across the country, it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, that it's going to go federal. And I think as an agricultural state, we're wasting our opportunity to not only generate $120 million in tax revenue that we could use to build out rural broadband, we could use that for rural infrastructure, we could fund our mental health facilities better, we could give small farmers an opportunity to get those licenses first to help the plight of the small farmer. We could increase manufacturing opportunities. We could help save the paper mills by beginning to use cannabis and hemp pulp as opposed to trees. This is a piece of legislation that I think not only would benefit the state, but it's a nonpartisan issue, in my opinion, and it'll keep the people that are concerned about cutting down trees happy, as well as the people that are interested in manufacturing and being able to stay in business.
You think Republicans would understand the nature of the dues? Mark, if people want to support your campaign, what's the website?
My website is markwaldonforassembly.com, and I would appreciate any support I can get. We're being outraised probably tenfold, but we're making the best of it.
Thank you, Mark Waldon. Have a wonderful weekend. Come back. More Devil's Advocates. The happy hour continues.
From Wanakee to McFarland, 92.7 FM is essential radio to get you through the pandemic.
Look, I'm voting for Joe Biden for a really simple reason. He actually has a plan to stop all the pain and suffering. I'm just tired of seeing so many lives cut way too short. Worst of all, everyone knows it wouldn't be this bad if we only had a real leader in charge. I mean, seriously, ask yourself, where is Trump's plan? Where is his plan to save American lives? Where is his plan to get our economy back on track? After so many months of suffering, how does he still not have a plan? And it could take a generation for us to recover. Hundreds of thousands of jobs have been lost in Wisconsin alone. Thankfully, Joe's plan is based on science. It'll tackle the pandemic, get our economy started again, and help working families. We just can't wait 4 years for a president to take charge. We need to take action today. Go to iwillvote.com to register to vote and request an absentee ballot. Remember, iwillvote.com. That's all it takes to vote from home safely and securely. It's quick, it's easy. You can do it right now.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Coronavirus update. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. An AP tally based on numbers from Johns Hopkins University shows a nationwide drop in coronavirus deaths after peaking early last month. But there are warnings of a new bout coming in the fall. There is a disparity between school districts when it comes to in-class and virtual classes during the pandemic. AP's Jennifer King reports on a mainly white district and one of color in the Indianapolis area.
Franklin Township, Indiana, where 2/3 of the 10,000 students are white, is allowing younger children to return to school buildings full-time. 2 districts away in Indianapolis, public schools started virtually. Nearly 3/4 of the 26,000 students in traditional public schools in Indianapolis are Black and Hispanic.
In every state, the AP and Chalkbeat surveyed the largest school districts, finding most students are beginning the school year online. But it also shows race is a strong predictor of which public schools are offering in-person instruction and which aren't. I'm Tim McGuire.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
Back to work at that job, the one you realized isn't for you? Well, that's if you're lucky, right? Make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home, even if you have zero computer experience. Take control of your future now. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Last night, the 2020 NFL season kicked off with the Houston Texans visiting the current Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Before the game, Houston elected to remain in the locker room during the national anthem, and before kickoff, both teams came together for a moment of unity, which was booed by the fans in Kansas City. The Green Bay Packers season begins on Sunday when they travel to Minneapolis to take on the Vikings at 12 p.m. The Milwaukee Brewers will be visited by the Chicago Cubs this weekend, with the first game of that series beginning tonight at 7:10. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride it where I like.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, the happy hour. It continues. Want to thank our most recent guest, the fine one, Mark Waldon. That's Waldon. Mark Waldon, candidate for Wisconsin Assembly District number 50. That's up in the Reedsburg area, and we're going to introduce our next fine guest in just a moment. But Dom, I've got a little bit of insight on the Kanye West lawsuit. Perhaps.
Really? Do tell.
Our friends at Wist Politics, I'll keep this brief. According to the judge in the case, Brown County Judge John Zakowski, good Polish name, my mindset has always been 5 o'clock is the witching hour. If it's 5 o'clock and 1 second, you're past the deadline. If that's a finding of law that the commission made, I have a mind to agree with that, which would seem to suggest that Kanye ain't going to be on the Wisconsin ballot.
So then Kanye can still go to the Wisconsin Supreme Court if he doesn't like that ruling.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
We got a fine guest right here in the Madison studios of Devil Radio. Do you know we rebranded it? We got Crazy Lenny. He's a brand in and of himself, a walking brand. Lenny, we've rebranded. We're Devil Radio now.
Devil Radio.
Welcome to the Devil Den.
Hey,
Ooh,
Lenny.
I like it. It's got a certain tingle. Devil Radio.
Oh.
Da-da-da-da-da! And the only way to escape is on an electric bike.
I think we got our voice man.
Lenny, e-bikes. It is still the season. Let's talk about e-bikes first, and then
Well,
we'll
it sure as hell hasn't been the last 3 days.
Well, it's a
Cold
little
and
rainy and
cold.
wet.
There's a lot of good riding out there, and you can ride a couple of the last 2 weeks of September and most of November, and then you can put your bike on a bike rack on the back of your car and go to a warm place with your bike.
Well, if we're still allowed to travel by then.
Lord, you're right.
Lenny, generally, to my memory, we get some nice weather. What do they call that? Indian summer.
Indian summer.
It's still coming, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. There's lots of good riding days. Actually, and I don't ride all winter long, but one can ride in November. Just got to bundle up. I mean, if you think of it that way, we ski in bitter cold.
Some people do.
Right.
I drink in the bitter cold, Lenny.
Well, I got you beat because I ski and drink in the bitter
Oh,
cold.
see, there you go.
I didn't know it was one or the other. I took both.
But you have like for the wintertime though, Lenny, you have trikes. I mean, I don't know if I'd be like comfortable.
No, you don't want to ride a trike. You're just too hardy and
tricycle.
You can't say on the radio just how sexy Dominic looks. Did you just come back from a warm place?
It's the good living, Lenny.
It is. Okay.
But I mean, I'd love to ride more in the winter, but come on, it gets
You need a
snowy
fat
and
tire bike.
nasty.
You need a fat tire bike.
A fat tire bike?
Yeah.
To match your head.
Ah, nice. Look who's talking.
Lenny, my kid's been riding the heck out of his e-bike this summer. He's gotten tons of use out of the e-bike. And then when they're not using his own, when he wants to go a little bit farther, because he's got the little motorcycle looking version. And that one's not always great for pedaling, great for riding.
He takes your bike.
So he steals my Easy Motion bike.
Why did I know that? 4 sons down the road.
The Easy Motion, much more fun on like the bike trails. In Middleton, we have the Pheasant Branch. He'll go ride the trails on mine.
Yeah.
But when he wants to look cool going to his girlfriend's house, then he gets on his e-bike.
Right. Well, the Easy Motion is a bike with a 60-mile range, 24 speeds. The Easy Motion is just a great European-made bike. You can leave it a note; it'll make breakfast. It's a wonderful.
Oh, I thought I had a nice bike, Lenny, but I walked into your shop the other day. What are these carbon fiber bikes? What are those, like tanks?
No, they're
light.
They're real light.
I was afraid to touch it. I saw the price tag.
Okay.
No,
they're really light bikes, and they're for young ladies and men who want to. Are really into riding. I mean, on a weekend during the summer, more than one weekend, time to time, they'll ride 100 miles. These bikes have that much range on a charge. Although I never can understand why you'd spend that much money for that big of a battery, because you're not going to ride even 35 miles probably without stopping for, a cup of coffee, stop at a diner for a burger, in my case, a pizza and a beer. And you can put your battery on the floor of any restaurant and plug it in like your PC, and while you have your half
you
hour,
can detach it from the bike and carry it with you.
Can charge our bikes, all that we sell, with the battery mounted in the bike or off the bike. So all of a sudden now, instead of spending several hundreds of, maybe over 2,000 more, you have a bike that instead of his 35-mile range, 60-mile range.
But if I've got the Cadillac if the Easy Motion is the Cadillac, these are the Rolls Royce, aren't they, Lenny?
Those
Carbon
fiber,
fibers.
yes,
Those are beautiful
They,
machines.
we've always carried the BMC Swiss-made carbon
Hmm.
fiber bike and the Stromer bikes, Swiss-made as well. But all of a sudden, this brand called B like boy, M like Mary, C like cat is just taken off. But these are hobbyist bikes. These are for someone who wants a bike that goes a long way, doesn't weigh a lot. You can lift it onto your bike rack while holding a cold beer in the other hand. It's a great bike.
Lenny, you've also obviously got more entry-level bikes, more approachable price points for bikes. Where do you guys start?
That's where the main sales are going. So many folks want an e-bike. The COVID thing is just absolutely knocked sales over the roof. The industry is sold out. I spend hours, literally hours in a day, calling this vendor and that vendor. Where's my bikes? Or I want an order. What do you mean you're out? I'm your biggest dealer, and I have that push going for me. And so I call in my
so you
call
use
in
it.
my tabs there. I use it to get bikes in stock, and it's still very difficult. Yes, you can. A consumer can buy a really nice e-bike. What are the criteria? The basic criteria of a good e-bike. A bike, first of all, has a good warranty, a year at least warranty. A bicycle that has the pedal assist and the throttle assist, or if you don't want the throttle, you don't need that. If that's the case, a bike with the center mounted motors. They're a little smoother, a little bit lighter, but they don't have the power or the torque, so to speak. So you want a bike with a good motor, a good assist mechanism, sometimes referred to as a motor controller. You want a bike with disc brakes. I mean, we have the technology. They all the brakes stop the bikes, and they all meet consumer product safety requirements. But the disc brake, the stop is less likely to be a jerk where you may fall over the handlebar. The disc brakes are great. You want a good power system. I mentioned you want a battery of at least 14 amp hours. We've got it all, and we don't have them priced at. We have bikes with lockout front shock absorbers. So if you don't want the squishy front shock, you can turn a little knob and and it locks. It's like a solid fork bike. You don't see a SRAM lockout front shock absorber on a bike anywhere, not just Wisconsin or Madison or the country for less than $2,000. We've got them, but I have to buy them 100 bikes in a container.
Ooh.
And I have to schedule at least 3 containers. Because that means the plant in Asia that makes these bikes, they how can I word this? They make them all at once, and then they just ship them to you because not many guys can take 300 bikes at once.
We'll do them like a big lot at a time.
That's right,
No.
to reduce their building costs. The e-bike industry is for an entrepreneur like me, is like driving a really fast racing car. The problem is I'm getting a little old, and sometimes I don't turn the corners that well anymore, but I have a great staff backing me up. And
Well, I was going to say, stop being so vain. Wear your glasses when you drive.
when I'm driving, they're on. It's just when I'm taking a photo, as we just did in the studio, I remove my glasses so I look like a young 77 instead of an old 78.
Folks, you are listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We got crazy Lenny Mattioli, crazy Lenny's e-bikes. But Lenny, I don't want to talk about e-bikes all day, man. It's nearly the weekend. I know
Let's
you're
have
going to
some
sell
fun.
some e-bikes. We're running some ads for you. We appreciate the business.
So do I.
But what about politics, Lenny? I know
Oh
you.
my gosh.
Last time I saw you, man, you
Oh.
were stirring the pot.
Oh,
Lenny,
you know what?
we got an election coming up.
Yes, we do. We got an election coming up. What a great set of choices we have. We have the Fred Astaire foot in the mouth with Trump.
Oh, I was going to say, which one's that?
Fair enough. Fair question.
And we have the other guy who we can't seem to, you kind of hope that he can make it through the speech without having to use the men's room. I'm sorry, everybody.
So you're terribly impressed by both candidates.
You know
you're
what?
saying, Len.
The way I deal with it is I try to make fun out of it. I do. I try to politely find a subject about an election that I can laugh at, because really, in the end, the election is who's the most popular candidate. The influence will always is and will be in my foreseeable future who's got the money behind them.
Well, Trump claims they have money, but I'm starting to wonder. Lenny.
But like I said, he just puts, I mean, come on, he's an embarrassment.
Well, I think so. Lenny, earlier today, last night, I guess, he was on Foxy News. Donald Trump was.
Mm-hmm.
And he accused his opponent of taking drugs, performance-enhancing
I take drugs, aspirins. I take Advil almost every day.
But do you take performance-enhancing drugs that make you give better speeches and do better appearances on the radio, Len?
Jeez. Did he really do that?
Yes.
He said that.
He says he must be taking drugs.
Let's think about it. Isn't that a little hard to believe?
That
he would say that?
That he would say that, yes.
Well, he would say that.
I think he's...
And it also is hard to believe that an active, hardworking person who really thinks it could make a difference, and bless him for thinking that, and then he gets accused of taking drugs, probably with absolutely no evidence, just somebody flapping their lips.
Well, Trump's flapping his lips and perhaps projecting. Some people say that Trump might be taking some performance-enhancing drugs. He's got a little bit of a slurring problem.
If he's not, maybe he should.
We get something out of him.
It couldn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? If he's not, maybe he should.
Lenny, what are performance-enhancing drugs when it comes to like speaking better? Because, you know, we've each got a cold beer here. That's not going to make me talk any better. Maybe more boldly.
I don't think it would hurt.
Better.
I think it
but doesn't it go to this man's total lack of sense of reality, Lenny? I mean, did you hear any of the Woodward tapes? You see some of the news coming out. Back in February, you know, he's saying, "Oh, this is deadly. This is dangerous." And then we heard and we know what he said all the times in between there. Lenny, what's your take? I mean, a lot of people say everyone does it. I hear that about these political parties, but this seems very specific to the Trumpsters and the Republican Party right now.
You know, I think Donald and many politicians agree with me. The election is just a popularity contest. It's all about the money. Trump says all those things that he can say because, you know, lobbyists put $3 million on this, $300 million on this side of the aisle, $300 million on that side of the aisle. So they all got to do what they say.
Well, they should put some money on the radio. Then we'd make sure other people did what they said.
And we'll just I will take 0.5% of the total amount of money lobbyists contribute.
Well, I don't know how much lobbyists contributed, but Joe Biden raised $365 million in the month of August. That'd buy some e-bikes, Lenny.
How about just one? I mean, Joe, I'd love to sell you a bike. You could buy my vote.
I've seen Joe actually riding a bike. He seems to have the wherewithal and stability to do so. I have not seen Donald Trump ever ride a bike.
He'd need a trike.
You guys are getting naughty now. You know, I mean, I could say some naughty things. I was thinking of George Carlin's statement. You know what? It doesn't make any difference who you vote for. Neither one of them are leaders. This is not Len talking. This is Carlin, because the way he says it is so funny. So, you know what I'm going to do? Just stay home. I'm just going to stay home. It'll come out the same.
Come on. Stay home
and miss the fun. Yeah, right.
If you stay home, you're going to miss all the fun. Lenny, you've been around a long time.
Boy, have I ever. You know what? I've been around so long. Wild horses used to run around your parking lot out there.
Now we just get wild turkeys.
Yeah, a few of those. Actually, that's a fact, isn't it?
I had a fox in the driveway this morning. I got a silver fox here in the studio with me. He is crazy, Lenny Mandioli. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll come back. More chatter with Lenny on the other side. More of his political thoughts, perhaps, and even your calls. 844-967-2789.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. It's called the American Dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Wash your hands, avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, my name is Scott Rudolph, and I'm the owner of Take Paws, Madison's original pet service company.
We offer the best professional pet care in Madison, like dog walks, which will help your dog with his or her daily exercise needs. We also offer cat visits while you are away so you can have peace of mind your beloved pet is well taken care of. Take Paws also offers in-home dog boarding, where your dog will be taken care of the same way they are at your home. You can find us by Googling Take Paws Madison. That's Paws, P-A-W-S, like your pet.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Stream the Devils and progressive news and talk 24/7 at the Devil's Advocates Radio Network, Wisconsin. That's DARNWI.com. That's DARNWI.com.
The Lazy Oaf Lounge is Madison's East Side place for friends and family. The Lazy Oaf is now open for dine-in and carry-out. Check out the new menu with awesome apps, burgers done to perfection, stone hearth fired pizzas, and Friday fish fry. And live music on the patio Thursday and Saturday evenings. Like the Lazy Oaf Lounge on Facebook and see the full menu at lazyoaflounge.com. The Lazy Oaf Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road, Madison.
Talk radio made for the 99%. Only on 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, Wisconsin's home for Devil Radio.
Women want them. Men want to be them. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. If you missed any of this fine program, you could go online and relive all the memories at domandcrute.com.
You know, Fancy Brian's been dying to play this song all day long. He thinks this song is not about a woman named Brandy, but about the booze.
I said, what if it was? What if it was? And what if the sailor, just had to give up the booze to go back sailing?
Brandy, the sailor must have been from Wisconsin then.
Well, yeah. The landlocked Wisconsin. That's it. Well, actually, not landlocked. It's got 2 Great Lakes around it, but whatever.
He got on the Edmund Fitzgerald, and that's the last we heard of him. We got a fine guest here in the Madison Devil Den. He is Len Mattioli. Crazy e-bike Lenny. We appreciate you coming in, Lenny. Hopefully you'll sell some e-bikes this weekend and on throughout the entire season because, Christmas coming up, all that kind of stuff. But Lenny, politics.
Yes. Really, really cool voters ride an e-bike through the polls.
Yes, they do.
Lenny, I got to ask you, man, kickoff of the NFL season. Mm-hmm. Packers are going to play Sunday at noon with no fans against the Minnesota Vikings.
Fans at the game last night.
The KC fans?
Yeah.
That booed the moment of silence for racial equity.
Did they really?
Yeah. Very, very classy.
Well, not all of them, just many of them.
The classy ones, they booed. About 16,000 in attendance.
You could booing racial equality per se is like they're smarter than that. But you certainly could boo the technique, if you will, the advertising, the promotion of racial equality. Black Lives Matter. Couldn't come up with something better than that. What about Italian lives, or call me a WAP lives matter? What about Irish lives? They matter a little bit. But Asian lives matter.
Lenny, you know why it's Black Lives Matter? Because, of course, Black people are so often the target. And until their lives are treated with the same sort of equity as an Irish or an Italian guy,
there are better combinations of words
absolutely.
to help their cause.
Defund the police isn't a great one. And
no, that's
eliminate
not a good one
ICE
either.
is not a great one because it works against the narrative of the Democratic
All right, but
Party.
it's
It can
three.
be miscast.
All right. So, but it's 3 words. How else can you describe the feeling that African Americans are treated disproportionately worse by the police and held by the system than Black Lives Matter? I mean, it gets to the point. It may be It may be brusque. It may be offensive to some people who really haven't comprehended that fact. But white people are 2.5 times. I'm sorry, black people are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by the police than white people. That's the problem. That's why it's Black Lives Matter, because it's Black Lives Matter too.
Frankly, without working at it, because this is a big and powerful phrase, how about just people of color's lives matter?
But if you ask some people of color, are you a person of color? They say, no, I'm black. Well, you know what? We're probably the wrong three guys to have this conversation.
Right. That's why I make
sexy guys.
That's why
matter.
I make dumb commercials. Because
I enjoy your
the general
commercials.
mentality on that issue is dumb.
Lynn, do you think people in, be it the racial inequality or the COVID pandemic or just the state of the country we live in, don't people just need a freaking break?
They do.
That's why I'm looking forward to the Packers on Sunday.
They do. Folks need a break, and I think the word break should be spread out a little bit more than a professional sports washing multimillionaires running around the playing field. I really think it should be laughter. There should be some joy.
Yeah.
There should be absolutely phrases that reduce this notion of that's not politically correct. That person could be offended by this. Stop that. Just stop all of that.
Lenny, I'm a big believer in politically incorrect sort of statements. And I know you are, because we've had conversations.
When used in a sense of not debate, serious
for
debate.
me, it's always
it's a smile. It can be a smile.
Yes, to try and create a humorous or funny circumstance.
Nothing bonds more than smiles. Nothing. Not religion, not politics, not sports.
Trump seemed, I got to be honest. I'm totally with you, because we need more joy in this world. But it's up to us individually to, find that and create that. That's really up to us to a large degree, Lenny. And it seems like,
says the man who lives the life of Riley over
but
here.
it seems like this administration has just kind of sucked the life out. Everywhere we turn around every day, it's just a new disaster. It's seemingly, Lenny.
All right, I would agree. However, rather than focus on that and talk about Trump has sucked the life out of humor, let's talk about how to puff the humor back in and get people to relax. Oh, come on, loosen up. I use that phrase in my bike shop. I probably don't go a week without saying 4 or 5 times people, they come in the store and they got their mask, they got their jacket, and they got their sunglasses and their hands in their pockets. I'm not sure if they're a customer or a holdup man, really. And I'll walk up to them and say, you're looking at these bikes like you're mad at them. Come on. What kind of a bike do you really want to ride? How do you picture yourself riding? It's just something that, well, I don't know. I'm in the early stages of looking for a bike, preliminary to making the final decision if I'm ever going to buy a bike or not. What is all of that? It's a bike. Not buying a $10,000 Rolex watch.
I've never had that experience either. Lenny, you have been in sales for a number of years, and
a number of years, indeed.
Twice your lifetime.
And I have also, sold a thing or two in my life. And I can tell you, and you
which
know
was
this,
it, a thing or 2 things?
Well, several thousands of things.
I bought a few of those things, Lenny.
Yeah, I've sold him and his family and his cousin and his brother's uncle.
Right.
But Lenny, ultimately, there's got to be some joy in the experience, don't you think?
The
I've
experience
watched
of purchasing a bike?
Yeah,
Well, that's
if
what I'm
you're
trying to
spending
say.
money,
Lighten up.
you better have some fun, man. If I'm going to the store to spend a lot of money and I'm going to walk out with a sour puss, then why'd I go drop the coin?
Or worse yet, walk in with a sour puss like, oh my God, I got to buy one of these. Everyone says I should buy one, and they have them, and I don't know. I got to buy it. Oh Lord, oh God, oh shit, oh my. Just do it.
But Lenny, all they have to do is really, literally get on the bike. Because as soon as you do, and people can come into that shop with all sorts of different attitudes, man. But as soon as you get on a bike, it is so much fun.
When customers have the pad of paper and they're taking pictures of the sprocket and they're writing things down on the pad of paper and they're looking at this and that. You know what I say to them? When you pull out of my driveway, you could turn right or turn left. I don't know what you're going to do, but I know this. Unless you ride a bike, you won't know anything about e-bikes.
Crazy Lenny Mattioli. Always enjoy your company. Lenny, thanks for coming around on a happy hour Friday afternoon. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Go Packers. Thank you to all our fine guests today. They included Abby Lowery, candidate for Wisconsin 8037, and Mark Waldon, candidate for Wisconsin 8050. And of course, our crazy friend Lenny Mattioli. Go buy an e-bike. You'll have a hell of a good time. You'll get a pretty good deal.
And you'll get a great workout.
And a great workout. Have fun. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again for you on Monday.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you, guys.
Nine.
40 Wall Street actually was the second tallest building in downtown Manhattan. And it was actually, before the World Trade Center, was the tallest. And then when they built the World Trade Center, it became known as the second tallest, and now it's the tallest.
11.
No football tailgating this year.
But there are test ride parties at Crazy Lenny's e-bikes end of summer sale.
Test ride.